the Concordant version of the Old Testament, copyright 2021 by the Concordant Publishing Concern. The Book of Numbers, chapter 1. And Yahweh spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of appointment, on day 1 of the 2nd month, in the 2nd year of their going forth from the land of Egypt, saying, Obtain the sum of the whole congregation of the sons of Israel, by their families, by their father's house, with the number of names, every male by their polls, from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host in Israel. You shall muster them by their militia hosts, you and Aaron, and with you shall come to be a man for each stock. Each the head of his father's house shall he be. These are the names of the men who shall stand with you. For Reuben, Elizur son of Shedeur. For Simeon, Shelumiel son of Zurishaddai. For Judah, Nahshon son of Amminadab. For Issachar, Nathanael son of Zuar. For Zebulun, Eliab son of Helon. For the sons of Joseph. For Ephraim, Elishama son of Ammihud. For Manasseh, Gamaliel son of Pedasur. For Benjamin, Abidan son of Gideoni. For Dan, Ahiezer son of Ammishaddai. For Asher, Pagiel son of Ochran. For Gad, Eliasaph son of Roel. For Naphtali, Ahira son of Enan. These are the called of the congregation, princes of the stocks of their fathers. They are heads of thousands of Israel. So Moses and Aaron took these men who were specified by their names, and on day 1 of the 2nd month they assembled the whole congregation, who registered themselves by genealogies, by their families, by their father's house, with the number of names from 20 years old and upward, by their polls. Just as Yahweh had instructed Moses, so he mustered them in the wilderness of Sinai, and they came to be, for the sons of Reuben, firstborn of Israel, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house with the number of names, by their polls, every male from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host. Their mustered ones for the stock of Reuben were 46,500. For the sons of Simeon, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house, their mustered ones with the number of names, by their polls, every male from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host. Their mustered ones for the stock of Simeon were 59,300. For the sons of Gad, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house with the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host, their mustered ones for the stock of Gad were 45,650. For the sons of Judah, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house with the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host, their mustered ones for the stock of Judah were 74,600. For the sons of Issachar, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house with the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host, their mustered ones for the stock of Issachar were 54,400. For the sons of Zebulun, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house with the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host, their mustered ones for the stock of Zebulun were 57,400. For the sons of Joseph, for the sons of Ephraim, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house with the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host, their mustered ones for the stock of Ephraim were 40,500. For the sons of Manasseh, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house with the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host, their mustered ones for the stock of Manasseh were 32,200. For the sons of Benjamin, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house with the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host, their mustered ones for the stock of Benjamin were 35,400. For the sons of Dan, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house with the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host, their mustered ones for the stock of Dan were 62,700. For the sons of Asher, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house with the number of names. From 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host, their mustered ones for the stock of Asher were 41,500. For the sons of Naphtali, according to their genealogical records by their families, by their father's house with the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host, their mustered ones for the stock of Naphtali were 53,400. These were the ones being mustered whom Moses, Aaron, and the princes of Israel, the 12-man group, one each for his father's house, mustered. All the ones being mustered of the sons of Israel came to be by their father's house. From 20 years old and upward, everyone going forth with the militia host in Israel. So all the ones being mustered came to be 603,550. Yet the Levites for the stock of their fathers did not present themselves to be mustered in their midst. For Yahweh had spoken to Moses, saying, Only the stock of Levi you shall not muster, and their sum you shall not obtain in the midst of the sons of Israel. As for you, give the Levites supervision over the tabernacle of the testimony, over all its furnishings and over all which pertains to it. They themselves shall carry the tabernacle and all its furnishings. They shall minister to it, and around the tabernacle shall they encamp. When the tabernacle is to journey, the Levites shall take it down, and when the tabernacle is to encamp, the Levites shall set it up. But any alien who comes near shall be put to death. The sons of Israel will encamp by their militia hosts, each on his campsite and each under his standard. Yet the Levites, they shall encamp around the tabernacle of the testimony, so that no wrath may come on the congregation of the sons of Israel. The Levites will keep guard of the tabernacle of the testimony. Thus the sons of Israel did according to all that Yahweh had instructed Moses. So they did. Chapter 2. Yahweh spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, Each under his standard, under the ensigns for their father's house, so shall the sons of Israel encamp. From a distance around the tent of appointment shall they encamp. Those encamping eastward, toward the sunrise, are under the standard of the camp of Judah by their militia hosts. The prince for the sons of Judah is Nahshon, son of Amminadab. His militia host and their mustered ones are 74,600. Those encamping next to him are the stock of Issachar. The prince for the sons of Issachar is Nethanel, son of Zuar. His militia host and its mustered ones are 54,400. The stock of Zebulun. The prince for the sons of Zebulun is Eliab, son of Helon. His militia host and its mustered ones are 57,400. All the ones being mustered of the camp of Judah are 186,400 by their militia hosts. As the first shall they journey. The standard of the camp of Reuben is southward by their militia hosts. The prince for the sons of Reuben is Elizur, son of Shadur. His militia host and its mustered ones are 46,500. Those encamping next to him are the stock of Simeon. The prince for the sons of Simeon is Shelumiel, son of Zurishaddai. His militia host and their mustered ones are 59,300. As for the stock of Gad, the prince for the sons of Gad is Eliasaph, son of Reuel. His militia host and their mustered ones are 45,650. All the ones being mustered of the camp of Reuben are 151,450 by their militia hosts. As second ones shall they journey. Then the tent of appointment will journey with the camp of the Levites in the midst of the other camps. Just as they are encamping, so shall they journey, each on his own side, under their standards. The standard of the camp of Ephraim by their militia hosts is westward. The prince for the sons of Ephraim is Elishama, son of Ammihud. His militia host and their mustered ones are 40,500. Those encamping next to him are the stock of Manasseh. The prince for the sons of Manasseh is Gamaliel, son of Pedasur. His militia host and their mustered ones are 32,200. As for the stock of Benjamin, the prince for the sons of Benjamin is Abidan, son of Gideoni. His militia host and their mustered ones are 35,400. All the ones being mustered of the camp of Ephraim are 108,100 by their militia hosts. As third ones shall they journey. The standard of the camp of Dan is northward by their militia hosts. The prince of the sons of Dan is Ahisar, son of Ammishaddai. His militia host and their mustered ones are 62,700. and those encamping next to him are the stock of Asher. The prince for the sons of Asher is Pagiel son of Okran. His militia host and their mustered ones are 41,500. As for the stock of Naphtali, the prince for the sons of Naphtali is Ahira son of Anan. His militia host and their mustered ones are 53,400. All the ones being mustered of the camp of Dan are 157,600. As the last shall they journey under their standards. These are the ones being mustered of the sons of Israel by their father's house. All the ones being mustered of the camps by their militia hosts are 603,550. Yet the Levites did not present themselves to be mustered in the midst of the sons of Israel, just as Yahweh had instructed Moses. Thus the sons of Israel did according to all that Yahweh had instructed Moses. So they encamped under their standards, and so they journeyed, each by his families, along with his father's house. Chapter 3. These are the genealogical records of Aaron and Moses, on the day Yahweh spoke with Moses on Mount Sinai, and these were the names of the sons of Aaron, the firstborn Nadab, then Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These were the names of the sons of Aaron, the anointed priests whom he ordained to serve as priests. Yet Nadab and Abihu died before Yahweh when they brought near alien fire before Yahweh in the wilderness of Sinai. They did not come to have sons, and Eleazar and Ithamar served as priests in the presence of Aaron their father. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Bring near the stock of Levi, and you will stand them before Aaron the priest, that they may minister to him. For they will keep charge for him and charge for the whole congregation before the tent of appointment to serve in the service of the tabernacle. They will keep all the furnishings of the tent of appointment and the charge for the sons of Israel to serve in the service of the tabernacle. To Aaron and to his sons will you give the Levites. They are the ones being given, yea, given to me, from the sons of Israel. And to Aaron and his sons shall you commit this, that they observe their priesthood. But any alien who comes near, he shall be put to death." Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "As for me, behold, I take the Levites from the midst of the sons of Israel, instead of every firstborn male opening up the womb among the sons of Israel. So the Levites become mine, for every firstborn male is mine. In the day I smote every firstborn male in the land of Egypt, I sanctified for myself every firstborn male in Israel from human unto beast. Mine shall they become, I am Yahweh." Yahweh spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, "Muster the sons of Levi by their father's house, by their families. Every male from a month old and upward, you shall muster them." So Moses mustered them at the bidding of Yahweh, just as he was instructed. And these were the sons of Levi by their names, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. These were the names of the sons of Gershon by their families, Libni and Shimei, and the sons of Kohath by their families, Amram and Izhar, Hebron and Uzziel, and the sons of Merari by their families, Mahli and Mushi. These names were those of the Levite families by their father's house. Belonging to Gershon were the Libnite family and the Shemite family. These two were those of the Gershonite families. Their mustered ones according to the number of every male from a month old and upward. Their mustered ones were 7,500. The Gershonite families, they encamped behind the tabernacle westward, and the prince of their father's house for the Gershonite was Eliasaph, son of Lael. The charge of the sons of Gershon at the tent of appointment was the tabernacle and the tent, its covering and the portiere of the opening of the tent of appointment, the slung sheets of the court and the portiere of the portal of the court, which was surrounding the tabernacle and the altar, also its cords for all its service. Belonging to Kohath were the Amramite family, the Izharite family, the Hebronite family, and the Uzzielite family. These were those of the Kohathite families. According to the number of every male from a month old and upward, there were 8,600 keeping charge of the holy place. The families of the sons of Kohath, they encamped at the flank of the tabernacle, southward. And the prince of their father's house for the Kohathite families was Elizaphan, son of Uzziel. And their charge was the coffer and the table, and the lampstand, and the altars, and the furnishings of the holy place with which they shall minister, and the portiere, and all its service. And the prince of the Levite princes was Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, with the supervision of those keeping charge of the holy place. Belonging to Merari were the Malite family and the Mushit family. These two were those of the Merari families. Their mustered ones, according to the number of every male from a month old and upward, were 6,200. And the prince of their father's house for the families of Merari was Zuriel son of Abihail. At the flank of the tabernacle they encamped northward. And the supervision, the charge of the sons of Merari, was the hollow tapers of the tabernacle and its bars, its columns and its sockets, all its furnishings and all its service, also the columns of the court round about, and their sockets, their pegs, and their cords. Those encamping before the tabernacle eastward, before the tent of appointment toward the sunrise, were Moses and Aaron and his sons, the ones keeping charge of the sanctuary as the charge of the sons of Israel. But any alien who comes near, he shall be put to death. All the ones being mustered of the Levites, whom Moses and Aaron mustered at the bidding of Yahweh, by their families, every male from a month old and upward, were 22,000. Yahweh said to Moses, "Muster every firstborn male of the sons of Israel from a month old and upward, and obtain the number of their names. You will take the Levites for me, I am Yahweh, instead of every firstborn among the sons of Israel, and the beasts of the Levites instead of every firstborn among the beasts of the sons of Israel." So Moses mustered, just as Yahweh had instructed him, every firstborn among the sons of Israel, and all the firstborn males by the number of the names, from a month old and upward, as they had been mustered, were 22,273. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the Levites instead of every firstborn among the sons of Israel, and the beasts of the Levites instead of their beasts. So the Levites become mine, I am Yahweh. And as the ransoms of the 273, the superfluity, those over the number of the Levites, from the firstborn of the sons of Israel, you will take also 5 shekels for a pole. By the shekel of the holy place shall you take them, 20 gerahs to the shekel. And you will give the silver to Aaron and to his sons, the ransoms of the superfluity among them." So Moses took the silver of the ransoms from the superfluity, those over the ones ransomed by the Levites. From the firstborn of the sons of Israel he took the silver, 1,365 shekels, by the shekel of the holy place. And Moses gave the silver of the ransoms to Aaron and to his sons at the bidding of Yahweh, just as Yahweh had instructed Moses. Chapter 4. Yahweh spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, "You are to obtain the sum of the sons of Kohath from the midst of the sons of Levi by their families, by their father's house, from 30 years old and upward, unto 50 years old, all those coming to the Levitical host, to do the work in the tent of appointment. This is the carrier service of the sons of Kohath in the tent of appointment, the Holy of Holies. Aaron will come in, and his sons, when the camp is to journey, and they will take down the portiere curtain and cover the coffer of the testimony with it. They will put on it a cover of azure hide, and spread over it a cloth wholly of blue from above, and put its poles in place. And over the table of the presence they shall spread a blue cloth, and they will put on it the dishes and the spoons, the sacrificial bowls and the libation chalices. Also the continual bread shall be on it. Then they will spread over them a cloth of double-dipped crimson, and they will cover it with a cover of azure hide and put its poles in place. They will take a blue cloth and cover the lampstand of the luminary, its lamps and its snuffers, its fire pans and all its oil vessels with which they minister to it. Then they will put it and all its furnishings into a cover of azure hide and put it on the slider bar. Also on the golden altar shall they spread a blue cloth, and they will cover it with a cover of azure hide and put its poles in place. They will take all the furnishings of the ministry with which they minister in the holy place, and wrap them in a blue cloth, and cover them with a cover of azure hide, and put them on the slider bar. Then they will degrease the copper altar, spread over it a purple cloth, and put on it all its furnishings with which they minister on it, the fire pans, the forks, and the shovels, and the sprinkling bowls. All the furnishings of the altar. They will spread over it a cover of azure hide and put its poles in place. And they will take a purple cloth and cover the laver and its base and put them into a cover of azure hide and put them on the slider bar. When Aaron and his sons have finished covering the holy things with all the furnishings of the holy things, when the camp is to journey, then afterward the sons of Kohath shall come to carry it. Yet they shall not touch the holy things lest they die. These are the load of the sons of Kohath in the tent of appointment. Under the supervision of Eleazar son of Aaron, the priest is the oil for the luminary, the incense of spices, the regular approach present, and the anointing oil. He has the supervision over the whole tabernacle and all that is in it, among the holy things and its furnishings. Yahweh spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, Do not let the tribe of the Kohathite families be cut off from the midst of the Levites. Yet this do for them, and they will live and shall not die when they come close to the Holy of Holies. Aaron and his sons, they shall come, and they will appoint them, each man to his service and to his load. Yet they shall not come in to see the sanctuary in dismantling, for they would die. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, You are to obtain the sum of the sons of Gershom, of them also by their father's house, by their families. From 30 years old and upward unto 50 years old shall you muster them, everyone coming to enlist with the Levitical host to serve in the service in the tent of appointment. This is the service of the Gershonite families, to serve and to carry loads. They will carry the sheets of the tabernacle in the tent of appointment, its covering and the azure cover, which is on it from above, and the portiere of the opening of the tent of appointment. Also the slung sheets of the court and the portiere of the opening of the gate of the court, which is surrounding the tabernacle and the altar, and their cords and all the furnishings for their service. In all which is to be done with regard to them, they will serve. At the bidding of Aaron and his sons shall be all the service of the sons of the Gershonite, for all their load and for all their service. And you will commit to them as a charge all of their load. This is the service of the families of the sons of the Gershonite in the tent of appointment. And their charge is in the hand of Ithamar son of Aaron the priest. As for the sons of Merari, by their families, by their father's house, you shall muster them. From 30 years old and upward unto 50 years old shall you muster them, everyone coming to the Levitical host to serve in the service of the tent of appointment. This is the charge of their load for all their service in the tent of appointment. The hollow tapers of the tabernacle with its bars, its columns and its sockets. The columns around the court with their sockets, their pegs and their cords with all their furnishings and with all their servicing. By name shall you check all the furnishings of the charge of their load. This is the service of the families of the sons of Merari, for all their service in the tent of appointment in the hand of Ithamar son of Aaron the priest. Moses and Aaron and the princes of the congregation mustered the sons of the Kohathite by their families and by their father's house, from 30 years old and upward unto 50 years old, everyone coming to the Levitical host for service in the tent of appointment. Their mustered ones by their families were 2,750. These were the ones being mustered of the Kohathite families, everyone serving in the tent of appointment, whom Moses and Aaron mustered at the bidding of Yahweh by means of Moses. As for the ones being mustered of the sons of Gershon, by their families and by their father's house, from 30 years old and upward unto 50 years old, everyone coming to the Levitical host for service in the tent of appointment, their mustered ones by their families, by their father's house, were 2,630. These were the ones being mustered of the families of the sons of Gershon, everyone serving in the tent of appointment, whom Moses and Aaron mustered at the bidding of Yahweh by means of Moses. As for the ones being mustered of the families of the sons of Merari, by their families, by their father's house, from 30 years old and upward unto 50 years old, everyone coming to the Levitical host for service in the tent of appointment, their mustered ones by their families were 3,200. These were the ones being mustered of the families of the sons of Merari, whom Moses and Aaron mustered at the bidding of Yahweh by means of Moses. All the ones being mustered whom Moses and Aaron and the princes of Israel mustered of the Levites by their families and by their father's house, from 30 years old and upward unto 50 years old, everyone coming to serve on the servicing service and the carrying service in the tent of appointment. Their mustered ones were 8,580. At the bidding of Yahweh one mustered them, by means of Moses, each man for his service and for his load. Thus they were being mustered by him, just as Yahweh had instructed Moses. Chapter 5. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Instruct the sons of Israel that they shall send away from the camp every leprous human, and everyone having a discharge, and everyone defiled by a dead soul. Both male and female shall you send them away outside the camp. You shall send them away so that they may not defile their camps in the midst of which I am tabernacling. The sons of Israel did so, and sent them outside the camp. Just as Yahweh had spoken to Moses, so did the sons of Israel. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, saying, In case a man or a woman should commit any of the sins of humanity, so as to offend with an offense against Yahweh, and that soul realizes his guilt, then they will confess their sin which they had committed. The sinner will make restoration for his guilt in its full value, and he shall add a fifth of it onto it, and he will give it to him to whom he became guilty. If there is for the man no kinsman redeemer, so as to make restoration for the guilt to him, then the guilt restoration goes to Yahweh for the priest, aside from the ram of the propitiatory shelter, by which he shall make a propitiatory shelter over him. Also every heave offering pertaining to all the holy gifts of the sons of Israel, which they may bring near to the priest, his shall it become. One's holy gifts shall become his. Whatever one should give to the priest, his shall it become. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and you will say to them, In case any man's wife swerves and she offends against him, the offense being that a man lies with an emission of semen with her, and it is obscured from her husband's eyes, and she conceals that she defiled herself, since there was no witness against her, and she was not apprehended. And if a spirit of jealousy passes over him, so that he is jealous of his wife since she defiled herself, or if the spirit of jealousy passes over him, so that he is jealous of his wife even though she has not defiled herself, then the man will bring his wife to the priest and bring her approach present for her, the 10th of an ephah of barley meal. He shall not pour oil on it, neither shall he put frankincense on it, for it is an approach present of jealousies, a memorial approach present, a reminder of depravity. Then the priest will bring her near and stand her before Yahweh. And the priest will take holy water in an earthenware vessel, and from the soil which comes to be on the floor of the tabernacle, the priest shall take some, and he will put it into the water. The priest will stand the woman before Yahweh, uncover the woman's head, and put the memorial approach present on her palms. It is an approach present of jealousies. Yet in the hand of the priest shall come to be the waters of bitterness that bring the curse. Then the priest will adjure her and say to the woman, If no man has lain with you, and if you have not swerved in uncleanness, while under your husband's authority, be innocent from the waters of bitterness that bring this curse. Yet you, in case you have swerved while under your husband's authority, and in case you have defiled yourself, while a man other than your husband gave his admission to you, thus the priest will adjure the woman with the oath of imprecation, and the priest will say to the woman, Yahweh shall set you as an imprecation and an oath in the midst of your people, when Yahweh makes your thigh fall away and your belly turgid. So the waters that bring this curse will come into your bowels, causing the belly to be turgid and the thigh to fall away. And the woman will say, Amen, Amen. The priest will write these imprecations on a scroll, and he will wipe them out with the waters of bitterness. He will cause the woman to drink the waters of bitterness that bring the curse, and the waters that bring the curse will come into her for bitterness. Then the priest will take from the hand of the woman the approach present of jealousies, and wave the approach present before Yahweh, and bring it near to the altar. The priest will extract from the approach present a memorial of it, and cause it to fume on the altar, and afterward he shall cause the woman to drink the waters. When he causes her to drink the waters, then it will come to be, if she has defiled herself and offended with an offense against her husband, that the waters that bring the curse will come into her for bitterness, and her belly will be turgid, and her thigh will fall away, and the woman will come to be as an imprecation among her people. Yet if the woman has not defiled herself, and she is clean, then she is held innocent, and she will conceive seed. This is the law of jealousies when a woman swerves while under her husband's authority, and she defiles herself, or for a husband, when a spirit of jealousy is passing over him, and he is made jealous of his wife, then he will have the woman stand before Yahweh. Thus the priest will apply to her all this law. The husband is held innocent from depravity, and that woman, she shall bear her depravity. Chapter 6. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and you will say to them, In case a man or a woman should make an extraordinary vow, the Nazirite vow to sequester himself to Yahweh, from wine and intoxicant shall he sequester himself. Vinegar of wine and vinegar of an intoxicant he shall not drink. and any other liquid of grapes he shall not drink, and grapes sappy or dried he shall not eat. All the days of his sequestration from all that is made from the vine, the wine from pips as well as grapeskin he shall not eat. All the days of his vow of sequestration, no razor shall pass over his head. Until the days are fulfilled in which he is sequestering himself to Yahweh, he shall come to be holy, letting the locks of the hair of his head grow great. All the days of his sequestration to Yahweh, he shall not come near a dead soul. Even for his father or for his mother, for his brother or for his sister, he shall not defile himself for them at their death, because the symbol of sequestration to his Elohim is on his head. All the days of his sequestration he is holy to Yahweh. In case someone dying should die near him in an instant, suddenly, so that he defiles his head of sequestration, then he will shave his head on the day of his cleansing. On the 7th day shall he shave it, and on the 8th day he shall bring 2 turtle doves or 2 dove squabs to the priest at the opening of the tent of appointment. The priest will offer one for a sin offering and one for an ascent offering, and he will make a propitiatory shelter over him because he had sinned concerning the dead soul. Then he will hallow his head on that day and sequester himself to Yahweh for the days of his sequestration and bring a year-old he-lamb for a guilt offering. Yet the former days they shall fall out because his sequestration was unclean. This is the law of the Nazirite on the day of fulfilling the days of his sequestration. One shall bring him to the opening of the tent of appointment. He will bring near his approach present to Yahweh 1 flawless he-lamb, a year-old, for an ascent offering, and 1 flawless ewe-lamb, a year-old for a sin offering, and 1 flawless ram for peace offerings. Also a tray of unleavened, perforated cakes of flour, mingled with oil, and unleavened wafers anointed with oil, and their approach present and their libations. Then the priest will bring them near before Yahweh, and offer his sin offering and his ascent offering. He shall offer the ram as a sacrifice of peace offerings to Yahweh, along with the tray of unleavened bread. And the priest will offer his approach present and his libation. Then the Nazirite will shave his head of sequestration at the opening of the tent of appointment. He will take the hair of his head of sequestration and put it on the fire which is under the sacrifice of peace offerings. The priest will take the cooked shank from the ram and 1 unleavened, perforated cake from the tray and 1 unleavened wafer, and he will put them on the palms of the Nazirite after he has shaved himself of his symbol of sequestration. The priest will wave them as a wave offering before Yahweh. It is a holy portion for the priest in addition to the chest of the wave offering and the leg of the heave offering. Thereafter the Nazirite may drink wine. This is the law of the Nazirite who vows his approach present to Yahweh at his sequestration, aside from what his hand can afford. Corresponding to his vow which he vows, so shall he do concerning the law of his sequestration. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, Thus shall you bless the sons of Israel, saying to them, May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh light up his face toward you and be gracious to you. May Yahweh lift his face to you and appoint peace for you. Thus they will place my name over the sons of Israel, and I myself shall bless them. Chapter 7. It came to be on the day Moses finished setting up the tabernacle that he anointed it and hallowed it and all its furnishings, in the altar and all its furnishings. When he had anointed them and hallowed them, then the princes of Israel, the heads of their father's house, they, princes of the 12 stocks, they who had been standing over the ones being mustered, made an offering and brought their approach present before Yahweh. 6 coach carts and 12 oxen, a cart for 2 of the princes, and a bull for each one. They brought them near before the tabernacle. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Take them from them so that they will come to serve for the service of the tent of appointment, and you will give them to the Levites, to each man corresponding to his service. So Moses took the carts and the oxen and gave them to the Levites. 2 of the carts and 4 of the oxen he gave to the sons of Gershon, corresponding to their service, and 4 of the carts and 8 of the oxen he gave to the sons of Merari, corresponding to their service, by means of Ithamar son of Aaron the priest. Yet to the sons of Kohath he gave none, for the carrier service of the Holy of Holies was on them. On their shoulders they carried it. The princes made an offering for the dedication of the altar on the day it was anointed. The princes brought near their approach present before the altar. And Yahweh said to Moses, "One prince for one day, one prince for another day, shall bring near their approach present for the dedication of the altar." The one bringing near his approach present on the first day was Nahshon, son of Amminadab, for the stock of Judah. And his approach present was 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil for an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Nahshon, son of Amminadab. On the second day, Nethanel, son of Zuar, prince of Issachar, made an offering. He brought near his approach present 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil for an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Nethanel, son of Zuar. On the third day it was the prince for the sons of Zebulun, Eliab, son of Helon. His approach present was 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil for an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Eliab, son of Helon. On the fourth day it was the prince for the sons of Reuben, Elazar, son of Shadur. His approach present was 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil, for an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Elizur, son of Shadur. On the fifth day it was the prince for the sons of Simeon, Shelumiel, son of Zurishaddai. His approach present was 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil. For an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Shelumiel, son of Zurishaddai. On the sixth day it was the prince for the sons of Gad, Eliasaph, son of Reuel. His approach present was 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil. For an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Eliasaph, son of Reuel. On the seventh day it was the prince for the sons of Ephraim, Elishama, son of Ammihud. His approach present was 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil, For an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Elishama, son of Ammihud. On the 8th day it was the prince for the sons of Manasseh, Gamaliel, son of Pedazur. His approach present was 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil, for an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Gamaliel son of Pedasur. On the 9th day it was the prince for the sons of Benjamin, Abidan son of Gideoni. His approach present was 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil for an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Abidan, son of Gideoni. On the 10th day it was the prince for the sons of Dan, Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai. His approach present was 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil for an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai. On the 11th day it was the day for the prince for the sons of Asher, Pagiel son of Okran. His approach present was 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil for an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Pagiel, son of Okran. On the 12th day it was the day for the prince for the sons of Naphtali, Ahira son of Anan. His approach present was 1 silver dish, 130 shekels its weight, 1 silver sprinkling bowl of 70 shekels by the shekel of the holy place, both of them full of flour mingled with oil for an approach present, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 1-year-old he-lamb for an ascent offering, 1 hairy goat for a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old he-lambs. This was the approach present of Ahira son of Anan. This was the dedication offering of the altar on the day it was anointed by the princes of Israel. 12 silver dishes, 12 silver sprinkling bowls, 12 gold spoons. A single silver dish weighed 130 shekels, and a single sprinkling bowl weighed 70 shekels. All the silver of the vessels was 2,400 shekels by the shekel of the holy place. The 12 gold spoons, full of incense, weighed 10 shekels each, 10 a spoon by the shekel of the holy place. All the gold of the spoons was 120 shekels. All the oxen for the ascent offering were 12 young bulls, 12 rams, 12-year-old he-lambs with their approach present, and 12 hairy goats for a sin offering. And all the oxen of the sacrifice of peace offerings were 24 young bulls, 60 rams, 60 he-goats, 60-year-old he-lambs. This was the dedication offering of the altar after it was anointed. Whenever Moses came into the tent of appointment to speak with him, then he would hear the voice of Yahweh speaking to him above the propitiatory shelter, which was on the coffer of the testimony. It was from between the two cherubim that he spoke to him. Chapter 8. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Aaron, and you will say to him, when you set up the lamps toward the face of the lampstand, the 7 lamps shall give light." Aaron did so. Toward the face of the lampstand, he set up its lamps just as Yahweh had instructed Moses. And this was the handiwork of the lampstand, a stiff shell of gold from its stem unto its buds it was a stiff shell. According to the appearance which Yahweh had shown Moses, so he made the lampstand. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the Levites from the midst of the sons of Israel, and you will cleanse them. Thus shall you do to them to cleanse them. Spatter water of purification from sin over them. Let them pass a razor over all their flesh, and let them rinse their garments and so cleanse themselves. They will take a bull calf of the herd, and its approach present of flour mingled with oil. Then you shall take a second bull calf of the herd for a sin offering. You will bring near the Levites before the tent of appointment and assemble the whole congregation of the sons of Israel. When you bring near the Levites before Yahweh, then the sons of Israel will support their hands on the Levites, and Aaron will wave the Levites as a wave offering before Yahweh from the sons of Israel, so that they will come to serve in the service of Yahweh. And the Levites, they shall support their hands on the heads of the young bulls. Then offer the one as a sin offering, and the other as an ascent offering to Yahweh to make a propitiatory shelter over the Levites. You will have the Levites stand before Aaron and before his sons, and you will wave them as a wave offering before Yahweh. Thus you will separate the Levites from the midst of the sons of Israel, so that the Levites become mine. And afterward the Levites shall come to serve in the service of the tent of appointment when you have cleansed them and waved them as a wave offering. For they are the ones being given, yea, given to me from the midst of the sons of Israel. Instead of everyone opening up the womb, every firstborn of the sons of Israel, I have taken them for myself. For mine is every firstborn among the sons of Israel, among human and among beast. On the day I smote every firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified them for myself. So I shall take the Levites instead of every firstborn among the sons of Israel, and I shall give the Levites from the midst of the sons of Israel as a gift to Aaron and to his sons to serve in the service on behalf of the sons of Israel in the tent of appointment, and to make a separating shelter for the sons of Israel, so that no stroke may come among the sons of Israel when the sons of Israel come close to the holy place. Moses, Aaron, and the whole congregation of the sons of Israel dealt with the Levites according to all that Yahweh had instructed Moses as to the Levites. So the sons of Israel dealt with them. The Levites purified themselves from sin and rinsed their garments. And Aaron waved them as a wave offering before Yahweh. Then Aaron made a propitiatory shelter over them to cleanse them. And afterward, the Levites came to serve their service in the tent of appointment before Aaron and before his sons. Just as Yahweh had instructed Moses concerning the Levites, so they dealt with them. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "This is what applies to the Levites. From 25 years old and upward may one come to enlist with the Levitical host in the service of the tent of appointment. And from 50 years old shall one retire from the active service in the Levitical host, and shall serve no longer. Yet he may minister to his brothers in the tent of appointment, so as to keep guard, though in active service he shall not serve. Thus shall you deal with the Levites in regard to their charges." Chapter 9. Yahweh spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the 2nd year of their coming forth from the land of Egypt, in the 1st month, saying, "The sons of Israel shall observe the Passover at its appointed time. On the 14th day of this month, between the evening hours, you shall observe it at its appointed time, according to all its statutes, and according to all its customs shall you prepare it." Then Moses spoke to the sons of Israel to observe the Passover. So they observed the Passover in the 1st month on the 14th day of the month, between the evening hours in the wilderness of Sinai. According to all that Yahweh had instructed Moses, so did the sons of Israel. Yet it came to be that some men who became unclean by touching a dead soul of a human were not able to prepare the Passover on that day. Then they came near before Moses and before Aaron on that day. Those men said to him, We are unclean by touching a dead soul of a human. Why should we be disadvantaged by failing to offer the approach present of Yahweh at its appointed time in the midst of the sons of Israel? So Moses said to them, "Stand by and let me hear what instruction Yahweh may give for you." Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the sons of Israel, saying, in case any man of you or of your generations becomes unclean by a dead soul or is on the road afar, he will also prepare a Passover to Yahweh. In the 2nd month on the 14th day, between the evening hours shall they observe it. Over unleavened bread and bitter herbs shall they eat it. None of it shall they let remain until the morning, and a bone of it they shall not break. According to every statute of the Passover shall they observe it. Yet the man, he who is clean and is not on the road and forbears to observe the Passover, that soul will be cut off from its kinsman, because he has not brought near the approach present of Yahweh at its appointed time. That man shall bear his sin. And in case a sojourner sojourns with you and will observe the Passover to Yahweh, according to the statute of the Passover and according to its custom, so shall he do. One statute shall come to be for you, both for the sojourner and for the native of the land. On the day the tabernacle was set up, the cloud covered the tabernacle, the tent of the testimony. And in the evening it was over the tabernacle as the appearance of fire until the morning. So it was continually. The cloud covered it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. At the bidding of the cloud, taken up off the tent, the sons of Israel journeyed afterward. And in the place where the cloud tabernacled there, the sons of Israel encamped. At the bidding of Yahweh, the sons of Israel journeyed, and at the bidding of Yahweh they encamped. All the days that the cloud tabernacled over the tabernacle, they encamped. And when the cloud prolonged over the tabernacle many days, then the sons of Israel kept the charge of Yahweh and did not journey on. Sometimes the cloud was over the tabernacle for a number of days. At the bidding of Yahweh they encamped, and at the bidding of Yahweh they journeyed. Sometimes the cloud remained only from evening until morning. When the cloud was taken up in the morning, then they journeyed. Whether by day or night, whenever the cloud was taken up, then they journeyed. Whether it was 2 days or a month or many days, with the cloud prolonged over the tabernacle to tabernacle over it, the sons of Israel encamped and did not journey. Yet when it was taken up, they journeyed. At the bidding of Yahweh they encamped, and at the bidding of Yahweh they journeyed. The charge of Yahweh they kept at the bidding of Yahweh by means of Moses. Chapter 10. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Make for yourself 2 bugles of silver. Out of a stiff shell shall you make them, and they will become yours for the meeting of the congregation and for the journeying of the camps. When they blow long on both of them, then the whole congregation will congregate with you at the opening of the tent of appointment. Yet should they blow long on just one, then the princes, heads of the thousands of Israel, will congregate with you. When you blow a short blast, then the camps encamping eastward will journey. When you blow the second blast, then the camps encamping southward will journey. When you blow the third blast, then the camps encamping westward will journey. When you blow the fourth blast, then the camps encamping northward will journey. Short blasts shall they blow for their decampings. Yet when the assembly is to assemble, you shall blow long and not sound short blasts. The sons of Aaron, the priests, they shall blow the bugles, and they will be to you as an Aeonian statute throughout your generations. In case you enter a war in your land with the foe who is distressing you, then you will blast on the bugles, and you will be remembered before Yahweh your Elohim, and you will be saved from your enemies. And in the day of your rejoicing, in your appointments, and at the beginnings of your months, you will blow on bugles over your ascent offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings. And they will be to you for a memorial before your Elohim. I, Yahweh, am your Elohim. It came to be in the 2nd year, in the 2nd month, on the 20th of the month, that the cloud was taken up off the tabernacle of the testimony. So the sons of Israel decamped for their journeys from the wilderness of Sinai until the cloud tabernacled in the wilderness of Paran. Thus they decamped for the first time at the bidding of Yahweh by means of Moses. The standard of the camp of the sons of Judah decamped first by their militia hosts, and over his host was Nahshon, son of Amminadab. Over the host of the stock of the sons of Issachar was Nethanel, son of Zuar, and over the host of the stock of the sons of Zebulun was Eliab, son of Helon. Then the tabernacle was taken down, and the sons of Gershon and the sons of Merari decamped, the carriers of the tabernacle. Next, the standard of the camp of Reuben decamped by their militia hosts, and over his host was Elisur son of Shedeur. Over the host of the stock of the sons of Simeon was Shelumiel son of Zurishaddai. And over the host of the stock of the sons of Gad was Eliasaph son of Reuel. Then the Kohathites decamped, the carriers of the holy things. The others would set up the tabernacle previous to their coming. The standard of the camp of the sons of Ephraim decamped by their militia hosts, and over his host was Elishama son of Ammihud. Over the host of the stock of the sons of Manasseh was Gamaliel son of Pedazur. And over the host of the stock of the sons of Benjamin was Abidan son of Gideoni. Then the standard of the camp of the sons of Dan decamped as rear guard for all the camps by their militia hosts, and over his host was Ahiezer son of Ammishaddai. Over the host of the stock of the sons of Asher was Pagiel son of Okran, and over the host of the stock of the sons of Naphtali was Ahira son of Anan. This was the journey order of the sons of Israel by their militia hosts when they journeyed on. Moses said to Hobab son of Reuel the Midianite, father-in-law of Moses, "We are journeying to the place of which Yahweh said, 'It shall I give to you.' Go with us, and we will do good to you. For Yahweh, he has pronounced good things for Israel." Yet he said to him, "I shall not go, but rather to my land and to my kindred shall I go." Then he said, "Do not, I pray, forsake us for the reason that you know where we are to encamp in the wilderness, and you will be as eyes for us. And it will come to be in case you go with us. When that good comes, by which Yahweh shall do good to us, we also will do good to you." They journeyed from the mount of Yahweh a way of 3 days, while the coffer of the covenant of Yahweh was journeying before them, a way of 3 days to explore a resting place for them. And the cloud of Yahweh was over them by day on their journey from the camp. It came to be whenever the coffer journeyed, Moses said, "Arise, O Yahweh, that your enemies may scatter, and those hating you may flee from your presence." And whenever it stopped, he said, "Dwell, O Yahweh, with the myriads of Israel's thousands." Chapter 11. The people became like complainers, evil in the ears of Yahweh. Yahweh hearkened, and his anger grew hot, and the fire of Yahweh consumed some among them, and devoured the outmost part of the camp. Then the people cried to Moses. So Moses prayed to Yahweh, and the fire was drowned. He called the name of that place Taberah, for the fire of Yahweh had consumed some among them. The rabble which was among them lusted with yearning, and again the sons of Israel lamented also and said, "Who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we ate in Egypt gratuitously, the cucumbers and the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. Yet now our soul's desire is dry. There is nothing at all barring the manna before our eyes." Now the manna, it was like coriander seed, and its visible appearance was like the visible appearance of a pearl. The people went to and fro and picked it up, ground it between millstones or crushed it in a crusher, cooked it in a kettle and made ember cakes from it. Its taste was like the taste of fresh cakes baked with oil. At the descent of the night mist on the camp at night, the manna descended on it. Moses heard the people lamenting by its families, each at the opening of his tent. And the anger of Yahweh grew exceedingly hot, and in the eyes of Moses it was evil. Moses said to Yahweh, "Why have you dealt evil to your servant? And why have I not found grace in your eyes that you place the load of all this people on me? Was I myself pregnant with all this people, or did I generate it that you should say to me, 'Carry it in your bosom,' just as a foster father carries a suckling child to the ground about which you had sworn to their fathers? From where would I find flesh to give to all this people? For they are lamenting to me, saying, 'Do give us flesh, and let us eat.' I am not able by myself alone to bear all this people, for it is too heavy for me. So if thus you are doing to me, kill me, I pray, yea, kill me. If I have found grace in your eyes, then do not let me see your evil." Yahweh said to Moses, "Do gather to me 70 men from the elders of Israel, of whom you know that they are elders of the people and their superintendents, and you will take them to the tent of appointment, and they will station themselves there with you. I will descend and speak with you there, and I will divert some of the spirit which is on you and place it on them. They will bear the load of the people with you, so that you are not bearing it by yourself alone. And to the people you shall say, sanctify yourselves for the morrow, when you will eat flesh, for you lamented in the ears of Yahweh, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat? For it was well for us in Egypt. Now Yahweh will give you flesh, and you will eat. Not just 1 day shall you eat, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, nor 10 days, nor 20 days. Unto a month of days shall you eat, until it comes forth from your nostrils, and becomes odious to you, because you rejected Yahweh who is among you. And you lamented before him, saying, why is this that we came forth from Egypt? Moses said, 600,000 men on foot are the people among whom I am. Yet you say, flesh shall I give to them, and they will eat it for a month of days. Shall the flock and the herd be slain for them to provide for them, or all the fish of the sea be gathered for them to provide for them? And Yahweh said to Moses, the hand of Yahweh, is it short? Now shall you see whether my word shall happen to you or not. Moses went forth and spoke to the people the words of Yahweh. And he gathered 70 men from the elders of the people, and stood them around the tent. Yahweh descended in a cloud and spoke to him. He caused some of the spirit which was on him to divert, and he put it on the 70 men, the elders. And it came to be as the spirit rested on them, that they prophesied. Yet they did not do so again. Yet 2 men remained in the camp. The name of the one was Eldad, and the name of the second Medad. The spirit also rested on them. Now they had been among those listed, but had not gone forth toward the tent, yet they prophesied in the camp. Now a youth ran and told Moses and said, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. Joshua son of Nun, minister of Moses from his prime, answered and said, my lord Moses, forbid them. Yet Moses said to him, are you zealous for my sake? Oh, that all the people of Yahweh were prophets, for Yahweh put his spirit on them. Then Moses was gathered to the camp, he and the elders of Israel. And a wind, it journeyed from Yahweh, and it sheared quail from the sea and let go of them over the camp, about a day's journey thus, and a day's journey thus around the camp. And they fell about 2 cubits deep over the surface of the earth. Untitled Chapter 12. Then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses concerning the Cushite woman whom he took, for he had taken a Cushite woman. They said, is it but only through Moses that Yahweh speaks? Does he not also speak through us? And Yahweh heard. Now the man Moses was exceedingly humble, more than any human who was on the surface of the ground. Yahweh said suddenly to Moses, to Aaron and to Miriam, come forth, you 3, to the tent of appointment. And the 3 of them went forth. Yahweh descended in the column of cloud and stood at the opening of the tent and called Aaron and Miriam. And the 2 of them came forth. He said, oh, hear my words. If there were a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, in an appearance shall make myself known to him. In a dream shall I speak to him. Not so with my servant Moses. In my whole house he is faithful. Mouth to mouth am I speaking with him, and by an appearance, not in enigmas, so that he looks at a representation of Yahweh. So for what reason did you not fear to speak against my servant, against Moses? The anger of Yahweh grew hot against them, and he went away. When the cloud it withdrew from over the tent, behold, Miriam was leprous as snow. Aaron turned around to Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Aaron said to Moses, O my Lord, do not, I pray, set against us the sin in which we were foolish, and with which we have sinned. O do not let her be as the dead child of which, when it comes forth from the womb of its mother, half its flesh is devoured. Then Moses cried to Yahweh, saying, O El, I pray, heal her, I pray. Yahweh said to Moses, had her father spit, yea, spit in her face, would she not be mortified 7 days? She shall be locked out 7 days outside the camp, and thereafter shall she be gathered in. So Miriam was locked out outside the camp 7 days. Yet the people did not journey until Miriam was gathered in. Thereafter the people journeyed from Hazeroth and encamped in the wilderness of Paran. Chapter 13. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Send some men ahead of you, that they may explore the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the sons of Israel. 1 man, 1 each for the stock of his fathers, shall you send, and everyone a prince among them. So Moses sent them from the wilderness of Paran at the bidding of Yahweh, all of them men who were heads of the sons of Israel. These were their names: for the stock of Reuben, Shammua, son of Zakur; for the stock of Simeon, Shaphat, son of Hori; for the stock of Judah, Caleb, son of Jephunneh; for the stock of Issachar, Igal, son of Joseph; for the stock of Ephraim, Hosea, son of Nun; for the stock of Benjamin, Palti, son of Raphu; for the stock of Zebulun, Gadiel, son of Sodi; for the stock of Joseph; for the stock of Manasseh, Gadi, son of Susi; for the stock of Dan, Amiel, son of Gamali; for the stock of Asher, Sether, son of Michael; for the stock of Naphtali, Nabi, son of Vophsi; for the stock of Gad, Guel, son of Machi. These were the names of the men whom Moses sent to explore the land. And Moses called Hosea, son of Nun, Joshua. Moses sent them to explore the land of Canaan and said to them, "Go up this way into the Negeb. Then you will go up the hill country and see the land, what it is, and the people dwelling in it, whether they are courageous or slack, whether they are few or many. And what about the land in which they are dwelling, whether it is good or bad? And what about the cities in which they are dwelling, whether in encampments or in fortresses? And what about the land, whether it is fertile or lean, whether there are trees in it or not? You will encourage yourselves and take some of the fruit of the land." Now those days were the days of the first fruits of grapes. So they went up and explored the land from the wilderness of Zin as far as Rehob toward Lebo-hamath. When they went up through the Negeb, they came unto Hebron, where Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, the children of Anak, were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan of Egypt. When they came back to Wadi Eshcol, they cut from there a prune slip with 1 cluster of grapes and carried it on a slider bar by 2. Also some of the pomegranates and the figs. That place one called Wadi Eshcol on account of the cluster which the sons of Israel cut from there. So they returned from exploring the land at the end of 40 days. Then they went and came to Moses, Aaron, and to the whole congregation of the sons of Israel at the wilderness of Paran, toward Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to the whole congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. They related to him and said, "We came to the land to which you sent us, and indeed it is gushing with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Only that the people dwelling in the land are strong, and the cities are defended and exceedingly great. Moreover, the children of Anak we saw there. Amalek is dwelling in the land of the Negeb, the Hittite, the Hivite, the Jebusite, and the Amorite are dwelling in the hill country, and the Canaanite are dwelling by the sea and by the side of the Jordan." Then Caleb quelled the people before Moses and said, "We should go up and tenant it, for we are able to prevail against it." Yet the men who went up with him said, "We are not able to go up against the people, for they are more courageous than we are." Thus they brought forth among the sons of Israel disparaging muttering about the land which they had explored, saying, "The land through which we passed to explore it, it is a land that is devouring its dwellers. It and all the people whom we saw in its midst were men of great measure. There we saw the distinguished, the sons of Anak are part of the distinguished ones. And we became in our own eyes like grasshoppers, and so we became in their eyes." Chapter 14. The whole congregation lifted up and gave forth their voice, and the people lamented through that night. All the sons of Israel grumbled against Moses and against Aaron. The whole congregation said to them, "Oh, that we had died in the land of Egypt or in this wilderness. Oh, that we had died. Why is Yahweh bringing us to this land to fall by the sword? Our wives and our little ones, they shall be taken as plunder. Is it not better for us to return to Egypt?" And they said each to his brother, "Let us appoint a head, and let us return to Egypt." Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before the whole assembly of the congregation of the sons of Israel. And Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, from the explorers of the land, they tore their garments, and they said to the whole congregation of the sons of Israel, saying, "The land through which we passed to explore it is a very, very good land. If Yahweh delights in us, then he will bring us into this land, and he will give it to us. It is a land which is gushing with milk and honey. Only against Yahweh do not revolt, and you do not fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their protecting shadow has withdrawn from over them, and Yahweh is with us. Do not fear them." Yet the whole congregation said to pelt them with stones. Then the glory of Yahweh, it appeared in a cloud over the tent of appointment to all the sons of Israel. And Yahweh said to Moses, "How long shall this people spurn me? And how long shall they not believe in me, despite all the signs which I have done among them. I shall smite them with the plague and evict them, and I shall make you into a greater and more substantial nation than they. Yet Moses said to Yahweh, the Egyptians have heard that you brought up this people by your vigor from among them, and they have spoken to the dwellers of this land. They have heard that you, O Yahweh, are among this people, that you are being seen eye to eye, O Yahweh, and your cloud is standing over them. And in a column of cloud you are going before them by day, and in a column of fire by night. Should you put this people to death as one man, then the nations who heard the report of you will say, saying, because Yahweh was unable to bring this people to the land about which he had sworn to them, he slew them in the wilderness. So now let, I pray, the vigor of Yahweh be great, just as you have spoken, saying, Yahweh, slow to anger and with much benignity and truth, bearing with depravity and transgression and sin. Yet he is not holding innocent, nay innocent, but is visiting the depravity of the fathers on the sons, on the third and on the fourth generation. Pardon, I pray, the depravity of this people according to the greatness of your benignity, just as you bore with this people from Egypt and hitherto. Yahweh said, I have pardoned them according to your word. Nevertheless, as I am the living one, and as all the earth shall be filled with the glory of Yahweh, all the men who were seeing my glory and my signs which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, who probed me these 10 times, and they did not hearken to my voice, they assuredly shall not see the land about which I had sworn to their fathers. All who are spurning me, they shall not see it. Yet my servant Caleb, inasmuch as there is another spirit with him, and he is following fully after me, I will bring him to the land where he will enter, and his seed shall prepare it for tenancy. Since the Amalekite and the Canaanite are dwelling in the vale, turn around tomorrow and journey. Get yourself onto the wilderness, the Sea of Weeds road. Yahweh spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation, they who are grumbling against me? I have heard the grumblings of the sons of Israel, which they are grumbling against me. Say to them, as I am the living one, this is the averring of Yahweh. Just as you have spoken into my ears, so shall I assuredly do to you. In this wilderness your corpses shall fall, all your mustered ones, all of your number from 20 years old and upward, you who have grumbled against me. You yourselves shall assuredly not come into the land in which I lifted my hand in swearing to tabernacle you. None save for Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. As for your little ones, of whom you have said, they shall be taken as plunder, I will also bring them in, and they will know the land which you have rejected. As for you, your corpses, they shall fall in this wilderness, and your sons, they shall be shepherds in the wilderness for 40 years, and they will bear your prostitutions until your corpses are spent in the wilderness. By the number of the days in which you explored the land, 40 days, a day for a year, a day for a year, shall you bear your depravities. 40 years. Thus you will realize my repudiation. I, Yahweh, I have spoken. This assuredly shall I do to this whole evil congregation, those who are set against me. In this wilderness shall they be spent, and there shall they die. The men whom Moses had sent to explore the land, who had returned and caused the whole congregation to grumble against him by bringing forth a disparaging muttering about the land. Those men who were bringing forth evil muttering of the land died by a stroke before Yahweh. As for Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, they remained alive of those men going to explore the land. Moses spoke these words to all the sons of Israel, and the people mourned exceedingly. They rose early in the morning and went up to the summit of the hill country, saying, behold us, now we will go up to the place of which Yahweh spoke, for we have sinned. Moses said, why is this? You are trespassing the bidding of Yahweh, so this shall not prosper. Do not go up, since Yahweh is not among you, so that you not be stricken before your enemies. For the Amalekite and the Canaanite are there before you, and you will fall by the sword. Because you have turned back from following Yahweh, Yahweh shall not be with you. Yet they presumed to go up to the summit of the hill country, though the coffer of the covenant of Yahweh and Moses, they were not removed from within the camp. The Amalekite and the Canaanite, dwelling in that hill country, descended, smote them and pounded them as far as Hormah. Chapter 15. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and you will say to them, when you come to the land of your dwellings which I am giving to you, and you make a fire offering to Yahweh, an assent offering or a sacrifice for an extraordinary vow, or in a voluntary offering, or in your appointments to make a fragrant odor to Yahweh from the herd or from the flock, then the one approaching will bring near as his offering to Yahweh an approach present, a tenth of an ephah of flour mingled with a fourth of a hin of oil. As for wine for a libation, you shall offer on the assent offering or for a sacrifice a fourth of a hin with the one lamb. Or for the ram you shall offer an approach present, 2/10 of an ephah of flour mingled with a third of a hin of oil. As for wine for a libation, you shall bring near a third of a hin, a fragrant odor to Yahweh. In case you offer a bull calf of the herd as an assent offering, or a sacrifice for an extraordinary vow or peace offerings to Yahweh, then one will bring near with the bull calf of the herd an approach present, 3/10 of an ephah of flour mingled with half a hin of oil. As for wine you shall bring near for a libation, half a hin, as a fire offering of fragrant odor to Yahweh. Thus shall it be done for each bull, or for each ram, or for a flockling among the lambs or among the goats. According to the number which you offer, thus shall you do for each in their number. Every native, he shall do these things thus to bring near a fire offering of fragrant odor to Yahweh. In case a sojourner is sojourning with you, or whoever is in your midst throughout your generations, and he offers a fire offering of fragrant odor to Yahweh, just as you are doing, so shall he do. As for the assembly, there shall be one statute for you, for the sojourner sojourning with you. It shall be an Aeonian statute throughout your generations. Like you, so shall the sojourner be before Yahweh. One law and one custom it shall come to be for you, and for the sojourner sojourning with you. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and you will say to them, when you come into the land where I am bringing you, then will it come to be when you eat of the bread of the land, you shall raise up a heave offering to Yahweh. Of the first batch of your course meal, a perforated cake shall you raise up as a heave offering. As the heave offering of the threshing site, so shall you raise it up. Of the first of your course meal shall you give to Yahweh a heave offering throughout your generations. In case you err and do not observe all these instructions which Yahweh has pronounced to Moses, all that Yahweh has instructed you by means of Moses, from the day on which Yahweh instructed and beyond throughout your generations, then it will come to be, if away from the eyes of the congregation anything is done through inadvertence, that the whole congregation will offer one bull calf of the herd as an assent offering for a fragrant odor to Yahweh, with its approach present and its libation as is the custom, and one hairy goat as a sin offering. The priest will make a propitiatory shelter over the whole congregation of the sons of Israel, and it will be pardoned them, for it was an inadvertence. They will bring their approach present, a fire offering to Yahweh, and their sin offering before Yahweh over their inadvertence. Then it will be pardoned to the whole congregation of the sons of Israel, and to the sojourner sojourning in their midst, for all the people had acted through inadvertence. If one soul sins through inadvertence, then he will bring near a year-old she-goat for a sin offering. Over the erring soul, when he sins through inadvertence, the priest will make a propitiatory shelter before Yahweh, to make a propitiatory shelter over him, and it will be pardoned him. For the native among the sons of Israel and for the sojourner sojourning in their midst, one law shall apply for you, to anyone doing it through inadvertence. Yet the soul who is doing anything with a high hand, from the native and from the sojourner, he is taunting Yahweh. That soul will be cut off from among his people, since the word of Yahweh he despised, and his instruction he annulled. That soul shall be cut off, yea, cut off. His depravity is on him. While the sons of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering together sticks on the Sabbath day. Those finding him gathering the sticks together brought him near to Moses and to Aaron and to the whole congregation. They left him under guard, for it had not been expounded what should be done to him. Yahweh said to Moses, The man shall be put to death, yea, death. The whole congregation is to pelt him with stones outside the camp. So the whole congregation brought him forth to outside the camp and pelted him with stones, so that he died just as Yahweh had instructed Moses. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the sons of Israel, and you will say to them that they make for themselves tassels on the hems of their garments throughout their generations, and put blue twine on the tassels of the hem. You will come to have a tassel so that you will see it, and you will remember all the instructions of Yahweh and observe them. And you shall not explore after your heart and after your eyes, after which you are prostituting. It is so that you may remember and observe all my instructions and become holy to your Elohim. I, Yahweh, am your Elohim, who brought you forth from the land of Egypt to be your Elohim. I, Yahweh, am your Elohim." Chapter 16. Korah, son of Izhar, son of Kohath, son of Levi, arose along with Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, and on son of Peleth, sons of Reuben. They arose before Moses with men from the sons of Israel, 250 princes of the congregation, those called to appointment, men of renown. They assembled against Moses and against Aaron, and said to them, "Enough of you, for the whole congregation, all of them are holy, and in their midst is Yahweh. So for what reason are you lifting yourselves up over the assembly of Yahweh?" When Moses heard this, he fell on his face. Then he spoke to Korah and to his whole congregation, saying, "In the morning Yahweh shall make known who is his and who is holy, and he will bring him near to him. Whomever he may choose for himself, he shall bring near to him. This do, take fire pans for yourselves, Korah and his whole congregation. Put fire in them and place incense on them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it will come to be, the man whom Yahweh shall choose, he is the Holy One. Enough of you, sons of Levi." Then Moses said to Korah, "Hear, I pray, sons of Levi. Is it too little for you that the Elohim of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to him to serve in the service of the tabernacle of Yahweh, and to stand before the congregation to minister to them? He brought you near, and all your brothers, the sons of Levi, with you. Yet now you seek even the priesthood. Wherefore you and all your congregation are set against Yahweh. As for Aaron, what is he that you are grumbling against him?" Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab. Yet they said, "We shall not come up. Is it a little thing that you brought us up from a land gushing with milk and honey to put us to death in the wilderness, and that you are making yourself a chief, yea, a chief over us? Indeed, into a land gushing with milk and honey, you did not bring us that you might give to us an allotment of field and vineyard. Are you picking out the eyes of these men? We shall not come up." Moses' anger grew exceedingly hot, and he said to Yahweh, "Do not countenance their approach present. Not one donkey have I lifted from them, nor have I done evil to any one of them." Moses said to Korah, "You and your whole congregation, come before Yahweh, you and they and Aaron tomorrow. Take each man his fire pan, and you will put incense on them, and bring each man his fire pan near before Yahweh, 250 fire pans, and you and Aaron, each man his fire pan." So they took each man his fire pan, put fire on them, placed incense on them, and they stood at the opening of the tent of appointment, also Moses and Aaron. Korah had assembled the whole congregation against them at the opening of the tent of appointment. Then the glory of Yahweh appeared to the whole congregation, and Yahweh spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, "Separate yourselves from the midst of this congregation, so that I may finish them as in a moment." Then they fell on their faces and said, "O Elohim of the spirits for all flesh, as for the one man, he is sinning. But shall you be wrathful over the whole congregation?" Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the congregation, saying, Move away from around the tabernacles of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." So Moses rose and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel went after him. He spoke to the congregation, saying, "Withdraw, I pray, from the tents of these wicked men. Do not touch anything which belongs to them, lest you be swept up in all their sins." They moved away from the tabernacles of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, away from around them. As for Dathan and Abiram, they went forth, standing up at the opening of their tents with their wives, their sons, and their little ones. Moses said, "By this shall you know that Yahweh, he has sent me to perform all these deeds, that they are not from my own heart. Should these die the common death of all humanity, and should the visitation of all humanity be visited on them, then Yahweh has not sent me. Yet should Yahweh create an unprecedented creation so that the ground opens wide its mouth, swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they descend alive to the unseen, then you will know that these mortals have spurned Yahweh. It came to be as he finished speaking all these words that the ground which was under them was rent, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households and all the humans who were with Korah and all the goods. So they descended, they and all who belonged to them, alive to the unseen, and the earth covered over them, and they perished from the midst of the assembly. Yet all Israel who were around them, they fled at their voice, for they said, "Lest the earth swallow us up." Then fire it came forth from Yahweh, and devoured the 250 men who were bringing near the incense. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, that he should raise up the fire pans from the burning place. As for the fire, toss it yonder, for holy are the fire pans of these sinners against their own souls. And they will make of them stamped foils into an overlay for the altar. For since they brought them near before Yahweh, they shall be holy and shall become as a sign to the sons of Israel." So Eleazar the priest took the copper fire pans which those burned had brought near, and they stamped them into an overlay for the altar, a reminder for the sons of Israel, so that no alien man who is not of the seed of Aaron might come near to try to fume incense before Yahweh, so that he does not become as Korah in his congregation, just as Yahweh had spoken to him by means of Moses. The whole congregation of the sons of Israel grumbled on the morrow against Moses and against Aaron, saying, "You yourselves put the people of Yahweh to death." It came to be, when the congregation assembled against Moses and against Aaron, and they turned around toward the tent of appointment, that behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of Yahweh appeared. When Moses and Aaron came before the tent of appointment, Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Get away from the midst of this congregation, so that I may finish them as in a moment." Then they fell on their faces. Moses said to Aaron, "Take the fire pan and put fire from the altar on it, and place incense on it, and go quickly to the congregation, and make a propitiatory shelter over them, for wrath goes forth from before Yahweh." The stroke has started. So Aaron took it, just as Moses had spoken, and ran into the midst of the assembly. And behold, the stroke had started among the people. He put the incense on it and made a propitiatory shelter over the people. He stood between the dead and the living, and the stroke was restrained. Now those dead by the stroke were 14,700, aside from those dead over the matter of Korah. Then Aaron returned to Moses at the opening of the tent of appointment. As for the stroke, it was restrained. Chapter 17. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the sons of Israel, and take from them a rod for the father's house, from all their princes by their father's house, 12 rods. For each man you shall write his name on his rod, and the name of Aaron shall you write on the rod of Levi. For one rod is for the head of their father's house. Then you will leave them in the tent of appointment before the testimony where I keep appointment with you. So it will come to be that the man whom I choose, his rod shall bud. Thus I will cause the grumblings of the sons of Israel to subside from over me, which they were grumbling against you." So Moses spoke to the sons of Israel, and all their princes gave a rod to him, a rod for each prince, by their father's house, 12 rods in all. And the rod of Aaron was in the midst of their rods. Moses left the rods before Yahweh in the tent of the testimony. It came to be on the morrow that Moses came into the tent of the testimony, and behold, the rod of Aaron of the house of Levi had budded. It brought forth buds and blossoms, and was requited with almonds. Moses brought forth all the rods from before Yahweh to all the sons of Israel. They saw, and each man took his rod. Then Yahweh said to Moses, "Restore the rod of Aaron before the testimony for safekeeping, as a sign for the sons of rebellion, so that you may end their grumblings against me, so that they may not die." Moses did just as Yahweh had instructed him. So did he. The sons of Israel spoke to Moses, saying, "Behold, we decease, we perish, all of us perish. Anyone who comes near, yea, near to the tabernacle of Yahweh, he shall die. Should we all come to end by such a deceasing?" Chapter 18. Yahweh said to Aaron, "You and your sons and your father's house with you shall bear any depravity committed against the sanctuary, And you and your sons with you shall bear any depravity in connection with your priesthood. Moreover, bring near with you your brothers of the stock of Levi, the tribe of your father, that they may be allied with you and may minister to you when you and your sons with you are before the tent of the testimony. They will keep guard of you and guard of the entire tent. Only to the furnishings of the holy place and to the altar they shall not come near, so that they may not die, both they and you. They will be allied with you and will keep guard of the tent of appointment for all the service of the tent. Yet no alien may come near to you. You will keep guard of the holy place and guard of the altar, so that no more wrath shall come on the sons of Israel. As for me, behold, I have taken your brothers, the Levites, from the midst of the sons of Israel as a gift for you, given to Yahweh to serve in the service of the tent of appointment. Yet you and your sons with you shall keep your priesthood as to every matter of the altar and to that inside the curtain. Thus you will serve in the service. As a gift am I giving your priesthood. Yet the alien who comes near shall be put to death. Yahweh spoke to Aaron, As for me, behold, I give you charge of my heave offerings of all the holy gifts of the sons of Israel. To you I give them for a share of the anointing, and to your sons as an Eonian statute. This shall become yours from the Holy of Holies, reserved from the fire of all their approach present, all their approach present, and all their sin offering, and all their guilt offering which they are restoring to me. It will be a Holy of Holies for you and for your sons. As a Holy of Holies shall you eat it, every male shall eat of it. It shall be holy for you. This also is yours as a heave offering share of their gifts, all the wave offerings of the sons of Israel. To you I give them, and to your sons and to your daughters with you as an Eonian statute. Everyone who is clean in your household may eat of it, all the best of the clarified oil, and all the best of the grape juice and the grain. Their first fruit which they shall give to Yahweh, to you I give them. The first fruits of all that is in their land which they shall bring to Yahweh shall be yours. Everyone who is clean in your household may eat it. Every devoted thing in Israel shall be yours. Every male opening up the womb of all flesh, which they may bring near to Yahweh of human and of beast, it shall be yours. Only you shall ransom, yea, ransom the firstborn of humans, and the firstborn of an unclean beast shall you ransom. As for his ransom, from a month old up shall you take ransom by your appraisal with 5 silver shekels by the shekel of the holy place. It is 20 gerahs. Only the firstborn of kine, or the firstborn of sheep, or the firstborn of goats you shall not ransom. They are holy. Their blood you shall sprinkle against the altar, and their fat you shall cause to fume as a fire offering for a fragrant odor to Yahweh. Yet their flesh, it shall be yours, like the chest of the wave offering, and like the right leg it shall be yours. All the heave offering shares of the holy gifts which the sons of Israel shall raise up to Yahweh, I give to you, and to your sons and to your daughters with you as an Eonian statute. An Eonian covenant of salt shall it be before Yahweh, for you and for your seed with you. Yahweh said to Aaron, In their land you shall not have an allotment, nor shall a portion be yours in their midst. I am your portion and your allotment in the midst of the sons of Israel. As for the sons of Levi, behold, I give all the tithe in Israel as an allotment, in exchange for their service in which they are serving, the service of the tent of appointment. The sons of Israel shall not come near again to the tent of appointment to bear sin so as to die. He, the Levite, will serve in the service of the tent of appointment, and they shall bear any depravity of theirs. It shall be an Eonian statute throughout your generations, so that in the midst of the sons of Israel they shall not be allotted an allotment. For it is the tithe of the sons of Israel which they shall raise up as a heave offering to Yahweh, which I give to the Levites as an allotment. Therefore I say concerning them, no allotment in the midst of the sons of Israel shall they be allotted. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, As for the Levites you shall speak, and you will say to them, When you take from the sons of Israel the tithe which I give to you from them as your allotment, then you will raise up from it as a heave offering to Yahweh, 1/10 of the tithe. Your heave offering will be reckoned to you like the grain from the threshing site, and like the fullness from the winevat. So shall you also raise up the heave offering of Yahweh from all your tithes which you take from the sons of Israel. And from it you will offer the heave offering of Yahweh to Aaron the priest. From all your gifts you shall raise up the whole heave offering of Yahweh of all its best, its hallowed part, from it, and you will say to them, when you raise up its best from it, then it will be reckoned to the Levites like the yield of the threshing site and like the yield of the winnow, and you may eat it in any place, you and your households, for it is your hire, in exchange for your service in the tent of appointment. You shall not bear sin on account of it when you have raised up its best from it. Thus you do not profane the holy things of the sons of Israel, nor shall you die. Chapter 19. Yahweh spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, this is the statute of the law which Yahweh has instructed, saying, speak to the sons of Israel that they should take for you a red, flawless young cow, in which there is no blemish, on which no yoke has gone up. You will give her to Eleazar the priest, and he will bring her forth to outside the camp, and one will slay her before him. Eleazar the priest will take some of her blood on his finger, and spatter some of her blood 7 times ahead toward the face of the tent of appointment. Then one will burn the young cow before his eyes, her hide and her flesh and her blood. Over her dung shall one burn her. The priest will take cedar wood, hyssop, and double-dipped crimson, and fling them into the midst of the burning place of the young cow. Then the priest will rinse his garments and bathe his flesh in water. Afterward he may come into the camp, but the priest will be unclean until the evening. And the one burning her, he shall rinse his garments in water, and he will bathe his flesh in water. He too will be unclean until the evening. Then a clean man will gather the ashes of the young cow and leave them outside the camp in a clean place. And they will be for safekeeping for the congregation of the sons of Israel, for water of impurity. They are a burnt sin offering. The one gathering the ashes of the young cow will rinse his garments, and he will be unclean until the evening. This will be an Eonian statute for the sons of Israel and for the sojourners sojourning in their midst. The one touching the dead body of any human soul will be unclean 7 days. He shall purify himself from sin with it on the 3rd day. Then on the 7th day he shall be clean. And if he does not purify himself from sin on the 3rd day, then on the 7th day he shall not be clean. Anyone touching a dead body, a human soul who died, and who does not purify himself from sin, defiles the tabernacle of Yahweh. That soul will be cut off from Israel, for water of impurity was not sprinkled on him. He shall be unclean, his uncleanness will still be in him. This is the law in case a human should die in a tent. Anyone entering the tent, and anyone who is in the tent, he shall be unclean 7 days. Every open vessel on which there is no leather cap fastened with twine, it is unclean. Anyone who touches, on the surface of the field, one slain by the sword, or a dead body, or a human bone, or a tomb, he shall be unclean 7 days. They will take for the unclean from the soil of the burning place of the sin offering, and put living water on it in a vessel. A clean man will take hyssop, dip it in the water, and spatter it on the tent, and on all the vessels, and on the souls which are there, and on the one touching a bone, or one slain, or a dead body, or a tomb. The clean one will spatter on the unclean on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day, and thus expiate him on the 7th day. He will then rinse his garments and bathe in water, and he will be clean in the evening. Anyone who is unclean and does not purify himself from sin, that soul will be cut off from the midst of the assembly, for the sanctuary of Yahweh has he defiled. Water of impurity, it was not sprinkled on him. He is unclean. It will be to them an Eonian statute that the one spattering the water of impurity, he shall also rinse his garments, and the one touching the water of impurity, he shall be unclean until the evening. All that the unclean one touches, it is unclean, and the soul of the one touching, it shall be unclean until the evening. Chapter 20. The sons of Israel, the whole congregation, entered the wilderness of Zin in the 1st month, and the people dwelt at Kadesh. Miriam died there and was entombed there. Now there was no water for the congregation, and they assembled against Moses and against Aaron. The people contended with Moses and spoke, saying, "Oh, that we had deceased when our brothers deceased before Yahweh. Why did you bring the assembly of Yahweh to this wilderness to die there, we and our livestock? And why did you lead us up from Egypt to bring us to this evil place? This is not a place of seed, fig, vine, or pomegranate, and there is not even water to drink." When Moses and Aaron came from the presence of the assembly to the opening of the tent of appointment and fell on their faces, Then the glory of Yahweh appeared to them. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the rod and assemble the congregation, you and Aaron your brother, and you will speak to the crag before their eyes, and it will give its water. Thus you will bring forth water for them from the crag, and will give drink to the congregation and their livestock." So Moses took the rod from before Yahweh, just as he had instructed him. Moses and Aaron assembled the assembly before the crag, and he said to them, "Hear, I pray you, rebels, from this crag shall we bring forth water for you?" When Moses raised up his hand and smote the crag with his rod twice, then much water came forth, and the congregation and their livestock drank. Yet Yahweh said to Moses and to Aaron, "Because you did not believe in me to sanctify me before the eyes of the sons of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I will give to them." These were the waters of Meribah, where the sons of Israel contended with Yahweh, and he showed himself holy among them. Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. "Thus says your brother Israel, you know yourself all the stress which finds us, and that our fathers went down to Egypt, and we dwelt in Egypt many days, and that the Egyptians did evil to us and to our fathers. We cried to Yahweh, and he heard our voice and sent a messenger and brought us forth from Egypt. Now behold, we are at Kadesh, a city at your outmost boundary. Let us pass, we pray, through your land. We shall not pass through field or vineyard, nor shall we drink water of a well. By the king's road shall we go. We shall not turn aside right or left until we have crossed over your boundary." Yet Edom said to him, "You shall not pass through me, lest I come forth with the sword to meet you." Then the sons of Israel said to him, "By the highway shall we go up, and if we drink your water, I and my cattle, then I will give its selling price. But this is no great matter. Do let me pass on my feet." Yet he said, "You shall not pass." Then Edom came forth to meet him, heavy with people and with a steadfast hand. Thus Edom refused to let Israel pass through his boundary, so Israel turned aside from him. The sons of Israel, the whole congregation, journeyed from Kadesh and came to Mount Hor. Yahweh spoke to Moses and to Aaron at Mount Hor on the boundary of the land of Edom, saying, "Aaron shall be gathered to his people, for he shall not come to the land which I will give to the sons of Israel, because you rebelled against my bidding at the waters of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up to Mount Hor. Strip Aaron of his garments, and you will put them on Eleazar his son. As for Aaron, he shall be gathered, and will die there." Moses did just as Yahweh had instructed. They went up to Mount Hor before the eyes of the whole congregation. Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar his son, and Aaron died there on the summit of the mountain. Then Moses and Eleazar descended from the mountain, and the whole congregation discerned that Aaron had deceased. They lamented for Aaron 30 days, all the house of Israel. Chapter 21. When the Canaanite king of Arad, dwelling in the Negeb, heard that Israel was coming by way of Atharim, he fought against Israel and captured captives from him. Israel vowed a vow to Yahweh and said, "If you give, yea, give this people into my hand, then I will doom their cities." Yahweh heard the voice of Israel, and he gave the Canaanite into his hand. So he doomed them and their cities. Hence one called the name of the place Hormah. They journeyed from Mount Hor by way of the Sea of Weeds to get around the land of Edom, and the soul of the people was impatient on the way. The people spoke against Elohim and against Moses. "Why did you bring us up from Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread and there is no water, and our soul it is irritated by the lightly esteemed bread." So Yahweh sent burning serpents among the people. They bit the people, and many people of Israel died. The people came to Moses and said, "We have sinned, for we have spoken against Yahweh and against you. Pray to Yahweh that he may take the serpents away from us." So Moses prayed about the people. Then Yahweh said to Moses, "Make for yourself a burning serpent and place it on a banner pole. And it will come to be that anyone bitten, when he sees it, he will live." Moses made a serpent of copper and placed it on the banner pole. And it came to be that if a serpent had bitten anyone, when he looked to the copper serpent, he lived. The sons of Israel journeyed and encamped in Oboth. Then they journeyed from Oboth and encamped in Eabarim in the wilderness, which is adjoining Moab from the sunrise. From there they journeyed and encamped at Wadi Zered. From there they journeyed and encamped across the Arnon, which is in the wilderness going forth from the boundary of the Amorite. For the Arnon is the boundary of Moab between Moab and the Amorite. Therefore it is said in the scroll of the wars of Yahweh, the gushing river at the terminus, and the wadis of Arnon, the slope of the wadis which stretches out to the seat of Ar and leans to the boundary of Moab, and from there toward Beer, the same is the well of which Yahweh said to Moses, gather the people so that I may give water to them. Then Israel sang this song, spring up, O well, respond to it. A well chiefs delved it. Patrons of the people dug it with a statute maker's staff, with their own support staffs. And from the wilderness to Matana, and from Matana to Nahaliel, and from Nahaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth to the ravine, which is in the field of Moab, the summit of the Pisgah ridge that gazes over the surface of the desolation. Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorite, with words of peace, saying, do let me pass through your land. We shall not turn aside into field or into vineyard. We shall not drink water of any well. By the king's road shall we go until we cross over your boundary. Yet Sihon would not allow Israel to cross over at his boundary. Sihon gathered all his people and went forth to meet Israel toward the wilderness. He came to Jahaz and fought against Israel. Yet Israel smote him with the edge of the sword and tenanted his land from the Arnon, as far as the Jabbok, as far as the sons of Ammon, for the boundary of the sons of Ammon was Jazer. Israel took all these cities. Israel also dwelt in all the cities of the Amorite, in Heshbon and in all its outskirts. For Heshbon it was a city of Sihon, king of the Amorite. He had fought against the former king of Moab and had taken all his land from his hand as far as the Arnon. Therefore those discoursers say, come to Heshbon, let it be rebuilt, and let the city of Sihon establish itself. For a fire it came forth from Heshbon, a blaze from the town of Sihon. It devoured Ar of Moab, the possessors of the high places of Arnon. Woe to you, Moab! You have perished, people of Chemosh. He gave up his sons delivered from slaughter, and his daughters into captivity to Sihon, king of the Amorite. We shot them. Heshbon perished as far as Dibon. We caused desolation until the fire was blown as far as Medeba. When Israel dwelt in the land of the Amorite, Moses sent men to spy out Jazer. They seized its outskirts and evicted the Amorite who was there. Then they turned around and went up by the Bashan road. Og king of Bashan went forth to meet them, he and all his people, for battle at Edrei. Now Yahweh said to Moses, do not fear him, for into your hand I give him, and all his people in his land. You will do to him just as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorite, who was dwelling in Heshbon. So they smote him and his sons and all his people, until no survivor at all remained for him, and they tenanted his land. Chapter 22. Then the sons of Israel journeyed and encamped in the plains of Moab along the Jordan, across from Jericho. Balak son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorite, and Moab shrank in view of the people exceedingly, for they were numerous. Since Moab was irritated in view of the sons of Israel, Moab said to the elders of Midian, now this assembly shall lick up all around us as a bull licks up the green grass of the field. So Balak son of Zippor, who was king of Moab at that time, he sent messengers to Balaam son of Beor at Pethor, which is on the stream in the land of the sons of his people, to call for him, saying, behold, a people has come forth from Egypt. Behold, they cover the eye of the land, and they are dwelling at my forefront. Now do come, I pray, do curse this people for me, for they are more substantial than I. Perhaps I shall prevail, so that we may smite them, and I may drive them out from the land, for I know that whomever you bless is being blessed, and whomever you curse is accursed. The elders of Moab and the elders of Midian went with the pay for divinations in their hand. They came to Balaam and spoke to him the words of Balak. He said to them, lodge here for the night, and I will bring back word to you, just as Yahweh shall speak to me. So the chiefs of Moab dwelt with Balaam. Now Elohim came to Balaam and said, who are these men with you? And Balaam said to the one, Elohim, Balak son of Zippor, king of Moab, he sent them to me, saying, behold, the people coming forth from Egypt, they are covering the eye of the land. Now do go, do revile him for me. Perhaps I shall be able to fight him, and I will drive him out. Then Elohim said to Balaam, you shall not go with them, you shall not curse the people, for it is blessed. Balaam rose in the morning and said to the chiefs of Balak, go back to your land, for Yahweh has refused to allow me to go with you. So the chiefs of Moab rose and came to Balak and said, Balaam refused to go with us. Balak continued further to send other chiefs, more numerous and illustrious than these. They came to Balaam and said to him, Thus says Balak son of Zippor, Do not, I pray, be withheld from coming to me, for I shall glorify, yea, glorify you exceedingly, and all that you may say to me I shall do. So come now, I pray, do revile this people for me. Yet Balaam answered and said to the servants of Balak, If Balak were giving to me the fullness of his house in silver and gold, I could not cross the bidding of Yahweh my Elohim to do what is small or great. Yet now dwell, I pray, you two in this place for the night. Then I shall know what Yahweh shall continue to speak with me. Elohim came to Balaam at night and said to him, Since the men have come to call for you, rise, go with them. Yet only the word that I speak to you, only it shall you use. Balaam rose in the morning and saddled his jenny and went with the chiefs of Moab. Elohim's anger grew hot because he was going. So a messenger of Yahweh stationed himself in the road to be adverse to him. Now he was riding on his jenny, and his two lads were with him. The jenny saw the messenger of Yahweh stationed in the road, with his drawn sword in his hand. So the jenny turned aside from the road and went into a field. Balaam smote the jenny to turn her aside into the road. Then the messenger of Yahweh stood in a lane between the vineyards, with a stone dike on this side and a stone dike on that side. The jenny saw the messenger of Yahweh and pressed herself close to the sidewall. When she pressed Balaam's foot close to the sidewall, he continued to smite her. Yet the messenger of Yahweh continued to pass, and he stood in a narrow place in which there was no way to turn aside, right or left. The jenny saw the messenger of Yahweh, and she reclined under Balaam. Balaam's anger grew hot, and he smote the jenny with a stave. Then Yahweh opened the mouth of the jenny, and she said to Balaam, What have I done to you that you have smitten me these 3 times? And Balaam said to the jenny, Because you abused me, oh that there were a sword in my hand, for I would kill you right now. The jenny said to Balaam, Am I not your jenny on which you have ridden from your youth until this day? Have I been accustomed, yea, accustomed, to do thus to you? And he said, No. Yahweh gave revelation to the eyes of Balaam, so that he saw the messenger of Yahweh stationed in the road with his drawn sword in his hand. So he bowed his head and bowed himself down, with his nostrils to the ground. The messenger of Yahweh said to him, On what grounds did you smite your jenny these 3 times? Behold, I myself came forth as your adversary, for your way in front of me is precipitate. The jenny saw me and turned aside from before me these 3 times. Unless she had turned aside from before me, surely just now I would have killed you, and I would have preserved her alive. Then Balaam said to the messenger of Yahweh, I was at fault, for I did not realize that you were stationed to meet me on the road. And now if it is evil in your eyes, let me return to mine. The messenger of Yahweh said to Balaam, Go with the men, yet only the word which I speak to you may you speak to him. So Balaam went with the chiefs of Balak. When Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went forth to meet him at Ar of Moab on the boundary of Arnon, which was at the end of the territory. Then Balak said to Balaam, Did I not send to you to call for you? Why did you not come to me? Am I truly not able to glorify you? And Balaam said to Balak, Behold, I have come to you now. Can I prevail to speak anything freely? The word that Elohim places in my mouth, it shall I speak. So Balaam went with Balak, and they came to Kiriath Huzoth. Balak sacrificed from herd and flock, and sent some to Balaam, and to the chiefs who were with him. It came to be in the morning that Balak took Balaam, and brought him up to the high places of Baal, that he might see from there the outmost part of the people. Chapter 23. Balaam said to Balak, Build for me in this place 7 altars, and prepare for me in this place 7 young bulls and 7 rams. Balak did just as Balaam had spoken. Balak and Balaam offered up a young bull and a ram on each altar. Then Balaam said to Balak, Station yourself at your ascent offering, and let me go. Perhaps Yahweh shall happen to meet me. Then whatever word he shall show me, I will tell you. So he went off to the ridge. Elohim met Balaam, and he said to him, The 7 altars have I arranged, and I offered up a young bull and a ram on each altar. Yahweh placed a word in the mouth of Balaam and said, Return to Balak, and thus shall you speak. So he returned to him, and behold, he and all the chiefs of Moab were stationed at his ascent offering. He took up his discourse and said, "From Syria, Balak gave me guidance, the king of Moab from the mountains of the east. Do come now, and do curse Jacob for me, and do come now, and do menace Israel. How should I revile when El has not reviled him? How should I menace when Yahweh has not menaced? For from the summit of the rocks I am seeing him, and from the hills I am regarding him. Behold, the people is tabernacling by itself alone, and among the nations it is not reckoning itself. Who counts the soil drift of Jacob, or the number of a fourth of Israel? May my soul die the death of the upright, and may my hereafter be just as his." Then Balak said to Balaam, "What have you done to me? To revile my enemies I took you, yet behold, you bless, yea, bless them." Yet he answered and said, "What Yahweh places in my mouth, is it not it that I should observe to speak?" Balak said to him, "Go, I pray, with me to another place from where you may see it. Only its outmost part shall you see, all of it you shall not see. Revile it for me from there." So he took him to the field of the watchman, to the summit of the Pisgah ridge. He built 7 altars and offered up a young bull and a ram on each altar. Then he said to Balak, "Station yourself thus at your ascent offering, while I meet him thus." Yahweh met with Balaam and placed the word in his mouth and said, "Return to Balak, and thus shall you speak." So he came to him, and behold, he was stationed at his ascent offering, and the chiefs of Moab with him. Balak said to him, "What has Yahweh spoken?" He took up his discourse and said, "Arise, Balak, and hear. Give ear unto me, son of Zippor. El is not a man that he should lie, or a son of humanity that he should feel regret. Does he say it and then not do it, or speak and then not carry it out? Behold, I was taken to bless, and he blesses, and I shall not reverse it. He does not look for sorrow in Jacob, nor does he see toil in Israel. Yahweh their Elohim is with him, joyfully shouted his king in him. El, who brought them forth from Egypt, was to him like a wild bull's cornuted strength. For there is no augury against Jacob, nor divination against Israel. At the right time it is spoken to Jacob and to Israel. What has El made? Behold, the people arise like a parent lion, and like a lion he lifts himself. He shall not lie down until he devours the prey and drinks the blood of those slain. Balak said to Balaam, If you shall not revile, yea, revile him at all, you should also not bless, ye bless him at all. Balaam responded and said to Balak, Did not I speak to you, saying, All that Yahweh shall speak, it I shall do? Balak said to Balaam, Do come now, I pray. I shall take you to another place. Perhaps it may be upright in the eyes of the one, Elohim, that you revile him for me from there. So Balak took Balaam to the summit of Peor, the one gazing over the surface of the desolation. Then Balaam said to Balak, Build for me in this place 7 altars, and prepare for me in this place 7 young bulls and 7 rams. Balak did just as Balaam had said, and offered up a young bull and a ram on each altar. Chapter 24. Balaam saw that it was good in the eyes of Yahweh to bless Israel, so he did not go out, as he had done the times before, to seek auguries, yet set his face toward the wilderness. When Balaam lifted his eyes and saw Israel tabernacling by its tribes, then the spirit of Elohim came on him. He took up his discourse and said, The averring of Balaam, son of Beor, and the averring of the master whose eye had been obstructed, the averring of the one hearing the sayings of El, who is perceiving a vision from him who suffices, falling prostrate, yet his eyes receive revelation. How good are your tents, Jacob, your tabernacles, Israel. Like the wadis are they stretched out, like gardens along a stream, like the aloes Yahweh has planted, like the cedars beside the waters. Water flows from its irrigation buckets, so its seed is among abundant waters. His king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall lift itself up. El who brought him forth from Egypt is to him as a wild bull's cornuted strength. He shall devour the nations, his foes, and pick their bones clean. With his arrows he shall transfix the enemy. He crouches, he lies down like a lion, and like a parent lion. Who shall make him rise? Whoever is blessing you is blessed, and whoever is cursing you is cursed. Now Balak's anger grew hot against Balaam, and he slapped his palms together. Balak said to Balaam, To revile my enemies I called you, and behold, you have blessed, yea, blessed them these 3 times. And now get yourself away to your place. I said I would glorify, yea, glorify you. Yet behold, Yahweh has withheld you from glory. Then Balaam said to Balak, Did I not speak also to your messengers whom you sent to me, saying, If Balak were giving to me the fullness of his house in silver and gold, I could not cross the bidding of Yahweh, to do what is good or evil out of my own heart. Whatever Yahweh shall speak, it shall I speak. And now behold me going to my people. Come now, I shall counsel you what this people shall do to your people in the latter days. Then he took up his discourse and said, The averring of Balaam son of Beor, and the averring of the master whose eye had been obstructed, the averring of the one hearing the sayings of El, and realizing the knowledge of the Supreme, he is perceiving a vision from him who suffices, falling prostrate. Yet his eyes receive revelation. I see him, yet not now. I regard him, yet not near. A star will position itself from Jacob, and a scepter will arise from Israel, and he will transfix the edge of Moab, and the crown of the head of all the sons of tumult. Edom will become a tenancy, even Seir will become a tenancy of its enemies. Yet Israel will do ably. One from Jacob shall hold sway, and will destroy the survivors of the city. When he saw Amalek, he took up his discourse and said, First of the nations was Amalek, yet his hereafter will lead unto perishing. When he saw the Kenite, he took up his discourse and said, Perennial is your dwelling, and set high in a crag is your nest. But rather shall Cain be taken out. How long until Asher shall capture you? Then he took up his discourse and said, Woe, who shall live when El lays it down? And those going forth from the hand of Kittim will humiliate Assyria and humiliate Eber. Yet he too will come unto perishing. Then Balaam arose and went away and returned to his place. And Balak also went his way. Chapter 25. While Israel dwelt in Shittim, the people started to commit prostitution with the daughters of Moab, who called the people to the sacrifices of their Elohim. The people ate their sacrifices and bowed themselves down to their Elohim. Thus Israel was paired with Baal Peor, and the anger of Yahweh grew hot against Israel. Yahweh said to Moses, Take all heads of the people and gibbet them before Yahweh in front of the sun, so that the heat of Yahweh's anger might turn back from Israel. So Moses said to the judges of Israel, Kill each one his men who are pairing themselves with Baal Peor. Behold, a man from the sons of Israel was coming in, and he brought near to his brothers a Midianite woman before the eyes of Moses and before the eyes of the whole congregation of the sons of Israel, while they were lamenting at the opening of the tent of appointment. When Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, saw it, he arose from the midst of the congregation and took a lance in his hand. He came after the man of Israel to the alcove and stabbed the 2 of them, the man of Israel and the woman, into her pelvis. Then the stroke was restrained from the sons of Israel. Those dying in the stroke were 24,000. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, reversed my fury from the sons of Israel in his zeal for my jealousy in their midst, so I did not finish the sons of Israel in my jealousy. Therefore say, Behold me giving to him my covenant of peace. It will be his and his seeds after him, the covenant of an Eonian priesthood, inasmuch as he was zealous for his Elohim and made a propitiatory shelter over the sons of Israel. The name of the smitten man of Israel, who was smitten with the Midianite woman, was Zimri, son of Salu, a prince of a father's house of the Simeonite. And the name of the smitten Midianite woman was Cosbi, daughter of Zur. He was a head of clans of a father's house in Midian. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Distress the Midianites and smite them, for they were distressing you in their plots, which they plotted against you over the matter of Peor, and over the matter of their sister Cosbi, daughter of a prince of Midian, who was smitten on the day of the stroke over the matter of Peor. Chapter 26. It came to be after the stroke that Yahweh spoke to Moses and to Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, saying, Obtain the sum of the whole congregation of the sons of Israel from 20 years old and upward, by their father's house, everyone going forth with the militia host in Israel. So Moses and Eleazar the priest spoke with them in the plains of Moab along the Jordan, across from Jericho, saying, From 20 years old and upward, just as Yahweh had instructed Moses. The sons of Israel who had come forth from the land of Egypt were Reuben, firstborn of Israel, and the sons of Reuben. Through Enoch, the Enochite family. Through Palu, the Paluite family. Through Hezron, the Hezronite family. Through Carmi, the Carmite family. These were the Reubenite families. Their mustered ones were 43,730. The sons of Palu were Eliab, and the sons of Eliab, Nemuel, Dathan, and Abiram. The same Dathan and Abiram were the called of the congregation who strove against Moses and against Aaron in the congregation of Korah, when they strove against Yahweh. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with Korah in the death of that congregation when the fire devoured 250 men, and they became like a warning banner. Yet the sons of Korah did not die. The sons of Simeon by their families. Through Nemuel, the Nemuelite family. Through Jamin, the Jaminite family. Through Jachin, the Jachinite family. Through Zerah, the Zerahite family. Through Saul, the Saulite family. These were the Simeonite families, 22,200. The sons of Gad by their families. Through Zephon, the Zephonite family. Through Haggi, the Haggite family. Through Shuni, the Shunite family. Through Ozni, the Oznite family. Through Eri, the Erite family. Through Arad, the Aradite family. Through Areli, the Arelite family. These were the families of the sons of Gad by their mustered ones, 40,500. The sons of Judah were Er and Onan. Now Er and Onan had died in the land of Canaan. The sons of Judah were, by their families, through Shelah the Shelonite family, through Perez the Perizzite family, through Zerah the Zerahite family. The sons of Perez were, through Hezron the Hezronite family, through Hamel the Hamelite family. These were the families of Judah by their mustered ones, 76,500. The sons of Issachar by their families, through Tola, the Tolite family, through Puah, the Puanite family, through Jashub, the Jashubite family, through Shimron, the Shimronite family. These were the families of Issachar by their mustered ones, 64,300. The sons of Zebulun by their families, through Sered, the Seredite family, through Elon, the Elonite family, through Yaleel, the Yaleelite family. These were the families of the Zebulunite by their mustered ones, 60,500. The sons of Joseph by their families, Manasseh and Ephraim. The sons of Manasseh were, through Mashir, the Masherite family, and Mashir begot Gilead, through Gilead, the Gileadite family. These were the sons of Gilead, through Ezer, the Izerite family, through Helek, the Helekite family, and of Asriel, the Asrielite family, and of Shechem, the Shechemite family, and of Shemida, the Shemidite family, and of Hepher, the Hepherite family. Zelophehad, son of Hepher, came to have no sons but rather daughters. And the names of the daughters of Zelophehad were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. These were the families of Manasseh, and their mustered ones were 52,700. These were the sons of Ephraim by their families, through Shuthelah, the Shuthelahite family, through Becher, the Becherite family, through Tahan, the Tahanite family. These were the sons of Shuthelah, through Iran, the Iranite family. These were the families of the sons of Ephraim by their mustered ones, 32,500. These were the sons of Joseph by their families. The sons of Benjamin by their families, through Bela, the Belate family, through Ashbel, the Ashbelite family, through Ahiram, the Ahiramite family, through Shuppim, the Shuppimite family, through Huppim, the Huppimite family. The sons of Bela were Ard and Naaman, through Ard, the Ardite family, through Naaman, the Naamite family. These were the sons of Benjamin by their families, and their mustered ones were 45,600. These were the sons of Dan by their families, through Shuham, the Shuhamite family. These were the families of Dan by their families. All the families of the Shuhamites by their mustered ones were 64,400. The sons of Asher by their families, through Imnah, the Imnite family, through Ishvi, the Ishvite family, through Beriah, the Berite family, through sons of Beriah, through Heber, the Heberite family, through Malchiel, the Malchielite family. And the name of the daughter of Asher was Sarah. These were the families of the sons of Asher by their mustered ones, 53,400. The sons of Naphtali by their families, through Jaziel, the Jazilite family, through Guni, the Gunite family, through Jezer, the Jezrite family, through Shillem, the Shillemite family. These were the families of Naphtali by their families, and their mustered ones were 45,400. These were the mustered ones of the sons of Israel, 1,730. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "To these the land shall be apportioned by allotment by the number of names. For the numerous one you shall increase his allotment, and for the little one you shall decrease his allotment. Each corresponding to his mustered ones shall be given his allotment. Only by lot shall the land be apportioned. By the names of their fathers' stocks shall they be allotted. At the bidding of the lot shall be apportioned each his allotment, between the numerous one and the little one. These were the mustered ones of the Levites by their families. Through Gershon, the Gershonite family, through Kohath, the Kohathite family, through Merari, the Merarite family. These were the families of the sons of Levi, the Libnite family, the Hebronite family, the Malite family, the Mushite family, and the Korahite family. Kohath begot Amram, and the name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, a Levite daughter who was born to the Levite in Egypt. And she bore for Amram Aaron and Moses and Miriam, their sister. To Aaron were born Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. Yet Nadab and Abihu died when they offered alien fire before Yahweh. Their mustered ones were 23,000, every male from a month old and upward, for they did not present themselves to be mustered for militia service in the midst of the sons of Israel, for no allotment was given to them in the midst of the sons of Israel. These were the mustered ones of Moses and Eleazar, the priest who mustered the sons of Israel in the plains of Moab along the Jordan across from Jericho. Yet among these not a man came to be from the mustering of Moses and Aaron the priest, when they had mustered the sons of Israel in the wilderness of Sinai, for Yahweh had said to them that they would die, yea, die in the wilderness. And not a man of them was left save Caleb son of Jephunneh and Joshua son of Nun. Chapter 27. Then the daughters of Zelophehad, son of Hepher, son of Gilead, son of Mashir, son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh, son of Joseph, came near. These were the names of his daughters, Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They stood before Moses and before Eleazar the priest, and before the princes and the whole congregation at the opening of the tent of appointment, saying, Our father, he died in the wilderness. Yet he was not in the midst of the congregation of those set against Yahweh, in the congregation of Korah. But he died for his own sin, and sons he did not come to have. Why should the name of our father be disadvantaged from the midst of his family, because he had no son? Do give now to us a holding in the midst of our father's brothers. So Moses brought near their plea before Yahweh. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Properly the daughters of Zelophehad are speaking. You shall give, yea, give to them a holding for an allotment in the midst of the brothers of their father, and you will cause the allotment of their father to pass on to them. And to the sons of Israel you shall speak, saying, In case a man dies and he has no son, then you will cause his allotment to pass on to his daughter. If he has no daughter, then you will give his allotment to his brothers, and if he has no brothers, then you will give his allotment to the brothers of his father. If his father had no brothers, then you will give his allotment to his kin, the one nearest to him in his family, and he will tenant it. And it will come to be to the sons of Israel for a statute of judgment, just as Yahweh has instructed Moses. Yahweh said to Moses, Go up to this mount of the Abarim range, and see the land which I give to the sons of Israel. When you have seen it, you will be gathered to your people, you too, just as Aaron your brother was gathered. Just as in the contention of the congregation, both of you rebelled against my bidding in the wilderness of Zin, to sanctify me at the waters before their eyes. These were the waters of Meribah at Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. Moses spoke to Yahweh, saying, May Yahweh Elohim of the spirits for all flesh give supervision over the congregation to a man who may go forth before them and enter before them, and who may bring them forth and bring them in, so that the congregation of Yahweh shall not become like a flock for whom there is no shepherd. Yahweh said to Moses, Take to you Joshua son of Nun, a man in whom there is spirit, and you will support your hand on him. Have him stand before Eleazar the priest and before the whole congregation, and you will instruct him before their eyes. Thus you will put some of your prestige on him, so that the whole congregation of the sons of Israel may hearken to him. And before Eleazar the priest shall he stand, and he will ask for him the judgment of the Urim before Yahweh. At his bidding shall they go forth, and at his bidding they shall enter, he and all the sons of Israel with him. the whole congregation. Moses did just as Yahweh had instructed him. He took Joshua and caused him to stand before Eleazar the priest and before the whole congregation. Then he supported his hands on him and instructed him just as Yahweh had spoken by means of Moses. Chapter 28. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Instruct the sons of Israel, and you will say to them, My approach present, my bread for my fire offerings. My fragrant odor shall you observe to bring near to me at its appointed time. You will say to them, This is the fire offering which you shall bring near to Yahweh. Flawless year-old he-lambs, 2 per day, a regular ascent offering. The one he-lamb shall you offer in the morning, and the second he-lamb shall you offer between the evening hours, with 1/10 of an ephah of flour as an approach present mingled with pounded oil, 1/4 of a hin. It is the regular ascent offering instituted at Mount Sinai for a fragrant odor, a fire offering to Yahweh. Its libation is 1/4 of a hin for one he-lamb. In the holy place, libate an intoxicating libation to Yahweh. And the second he-lamb you shall offer in the evening hours. Like the approach present of the morning, and like its libation shall you make it as a fire offering, a fragrant odor to Yahweh. On the Sabbath day you shall bring near 2 flawless year-old he-lambs, and 2/10 of an ephah of flour, an approach present mingled with oil, with its libation. This is the Sabbath ascent offering on its Sabbath, along with the regular ascent offering with its libation. At the beginnings of your months you shall bring near an ascent offering to Yahweh, 2 bull calves of the herd and 1 ram, 7 flawless year-old he-lambs, and 3/10 of an ephah of flour as an approach present, mingled with oil for each young bull, and 2/10 of an ephah of flour as an approach present mingled with oil for the 1 ram, and 1/10. 1/10 of an ephah of flour as an approach present mingled with oil for each he-lamb. This is an ascent offering, a fragrant odor, a fire offering to Yahweh. As for their libations, 1/2 a hin shall there be for each young bull, and 1/3 of a hin for the 1 ram, and 1/4 of a hin of wine for each he-lamb. This is the ascent offering month by its month for the months of the year. Also 1 hairy goat as a sin offering to Yahweh, along with the regular ascent offering, it shall be made with its libation. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, is the Passover to Yahweh, and on the 15th day of this month is a festival. For 7 days unleavened bread shall be eaten. On the first day is a holy meeting, when you shall do no occupational work at all. You will bring near a fire offering, an ascent offering to Yahweh, 2 bull calves of the herd, 1 ram and 7-year-old he-lambs. Flawless shall they be for you. And as their approach present of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 per young bull and 2/10 per ram shall you offer. 1/10 shall you offer for each he-lamb of the 7 lambs. Also there is 1 hairy goat as a sin offering to make a propitiatory shelter over you. Aside from the ascent offering of the morning, which is the regular ascent offering, you shall offer these. Like these shall you offer daily for 7 days, the bread of the fire offering for a fragrant odor to Yahweh. Along with the regular ascent offering shall it be made with its libation. And on the 7th day you shall come to have a holy meeting, when you shall do no occupational work at all. On the day of the first fruits, when you bring near a new approach present to Yahweh, in your festival of weeks, you shall come to have a holy meeting, when you shall do no occupational work at all. You will bring near an ascent offering for a fragrant odor to Yahweh, 2 bull calves of the herd, 1 ram, 7-year-old he-lambs with their approach present of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 for each young bull, and 2/10 for the 1 ram. 1/10 for each he-lamb of the 7 he-lambs, and 1 hairy goat to make a propitiatory shelter over you. Aside from the regular ascent offering and its approach present, you shall offer. Flawless shall they be for you with their libations. Chapter 29. In the 7th month, on day 1 of the month you shall come to have a holy meeting, when you shall do no occupational work at all. A day of trumpet blast shall you come to have. You will make an ascent offering for a fragrant odor to Yahweh, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 7 flawless year-old he-lambs, and their approach present of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 for the young bull, 2/10 for the ram, and 1/10 for each he-lamb of the 7 he-lambs. and one hairy goat as a sin offering to make a propitiatory shelter over you, aside from the ascent offering of the month with its approach present, and the regular ascent offering with its approach present, and their libations, as is their custom, for a fragrant odor, a fire offering to Yahweh. On the 10th of this 7th month you shall come to have a holy meeting, and you will humble your souls. You shall do no work at all. You will bring near an ascent offering to Yahweh, a fragrant odor, 1 bull calf of the herd, 1 ram, 7-year-old he-lambs, flawless shall they be for you. And as their approach present of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 for the young bull, 2/10 for the 1 ram, a tenth for each he-lamb of the 7 lambs, and 1 hairy goat as a sin offering aside from the sin offering of the propitiatory shelters and the regular ascent offering with its approach present and their libations. On the 15th day of the 7th month you shall come to have a holy meeting, when you shall do no occupational work at all, and you will celebrate a festival to Yahweh for 7 days. You will bring near an ascent offering, a fire offering of fragrant odor to Yahweh, 13 bull calves of the herd, 2 rams, 14-year-old he-lambs, flawless shall they be. And as their approach present of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 for each young bull of the 13 young bulls, 2/10 for each ram of the 2 rams, and a tenth for each he-lamb of the 14 he-lambs, and 1 hairy goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular ascent offering with its approach present and its libation. On the 2nd day, 12 bull calves of the herd, 2 rams, 14 flawless year-old he-lambs, and their approach present with their libations for the young bulls, for the rams and for the he-lambs, by their number as is the custom, and 1 hairy goat as a sin offering aside from the regular ascent offering with its approach present and their libations. On the 3rd day, 11 young bulls, 2 rams, 14 flawless year-old he-lambs, and their approach present with their libations for the young bulls, for the rams and for the he-lambs, by their number as is the custom, and 1 hairy goat as a sin offering aside from the regular ascent offering with its approach present and its libation. On the 4th day, 10 young bulls, 2 rams, 14 flawless year-old he-lambs, their approach present with their libations for the young bulls, for the rams and for the he-lambs by their number as is the custom, and 1 hairy goat as a sin offering aside from the regular ascent offering with its approach present and its libation. On the 5th day, 9 young bulls, 2 rams, 14 flawless year-old he-lambs, with their approach present and their libations for the young bulls, for the rams and for the he-lambs by their number as is the custom, and 1 hairy goat as a sin offering aside from the regular ascent offering with its approach present and its libation. On the 6th day, 8 young bulls, 2 rams, 14 flawless year-old he-lambs, with their approach present and their libations for the young bulls, for the rams, and for the he-lambs by their number, as is the custom, and 1 hairy goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular ascent offering with its approach present and its libation. On the 7th day, 7 young bulls, 2 rams, 14 flawless year-old he-lambs, with their approach present and their libations for the young bulls, for the rams and for the he-lambs by their number, as is the custom, and 1 hairy goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular ascent offering, its approach present and its libation. On the 8th day you shall come to have a time of restraint. No occupational work at all shall you do. You will bring near an ascent offering, a fire offering of fragrant odor to Yahweh, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 7 flawless year-old he-lambs, their approach present and their libations for the young bull, for the ram and for the he-lambs by their number, as is the custom, and 1 hairy goat as a sin offering, aside from the regular ascent offering with its approach present and its libation. These shall you offer to Yahweh at your appointed times, aside from your vows and your voluntary offerings for your ascent offerings, for your approach presents, for your libations, and for your peace offerings. Thus Moses spoke to the sons of Israel, according to all that Yahweh had instructed Moses. Chapter 30, Moses spoke to the heads of the stocks of the sons of Israel, saying, This is the matter that Yahweh has instructed. In case a man vows a vow to Yahweh, or swears an oath to bind himself by a bond on his soul, he shall not profane his word. According to all coming forth from his mouth shall he do. And in case a woman vows a vow to Yahweh, and binds herself by a bond in the house of her father in her youth, and her father hears about her vow, or her bond which she has bound on her soul, but her father is silent toward her, then all her vows are confirmed, and every bond which she has bound on her soul, it shall be confirmed. Yet if her father repudiates her vow on the day he hears about it, all her vows and her bonds which she has bound on her soul shall not be confirmed. And Yahweh, he shall pardon her, seeing that her father repudiated her act. If it be that she should become a man's while her vows are on her, or the talk of her lips which she has bound on her soul, and her husband hears about it, yet on the day he hears he is silent toward her, then all her vows are confirmed, and her bonds which she has bound on her soul shall be confirmed. Yet if, on the day her husband hears about it, he repudiates her act, then he annuls her vow which is on her, or the talk of her lips which she has bound on her soul, and Yahweh, he shall pardon her. The vow of a widow, or one driven out, all which she binds on her soul, it shall be confirmed on her. Yet if, in the house of her husband, she vows or binds a bond on her soul by an oath, and her husband hears about it but is silent toward her, and does not repudiate her act, then all her vows are confirmed, and every bond which she has bound on her soul, it shall be confirmed. Yet if her husband annuls them on the day he hears about them, then no utterance at all from her lips concerning her vows or the bond of her soul shall be confirmed. Her husband, he has annulled them, and Yahweh, he shall pardon her. Every vow and every oath of binding to humiliate the soul, her husband shall confirm it, or her husband shall annul it. And if her husband is silent, yes, silent toward her from day to day, then he confirms all her vows or all her bonds which are on her. He has confirmed them, for he was silent toward her on the day he heard about it. Yet if he annuls them after he heard about it, then he will bear her depravity. These are the statutes which Yahweh had instructed Moses between a man and his wife, and between a father and his daughter in her youth in her father's house. Chapter 31. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Avenge the sons of Israel with vengeance on the Midianites, and afterward you shall be gathered to your people. Then Moses spoke to the people, saying, Outfit men from among you as a militia host, that they may come against Midian to deliver the vengeance of Yahweh on Midian. 1,000 per stock, 1,000 per stock from all the stocks of Israel shall you send as the militia host. So they withdrew from the thousands of Israel, 1,000 per stock, 12,000 outfitted as the militia host. Then Moses sent them out, 1,000 per stock as the militia host, and with them Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, for the militia host, with the furnishings of the sanctuary and the bugles for the blast in his hand. They rallied against Midian, just as Yahweh had instructed Moses, and they killed every male. As for the kings of Midian, they killed them along with the rest of their slain: Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, 5 kings of Midian. Also Balaam, son of Beor, they killed with the sword. The sons of Israel captured the women of Midian and their little ones. They plundered all their beasts, all their cattle, and all their estate. All their walled cities with their dwellings and all their nomadic domiciles they burned with fire. They took all the loot and all the booty, including human and beast. Then they brought the captives and the booty and the loot to Moses and to Eleazar the priest, and to all the congregation of the sons of Israel, at the camp on the plains of Moab, which are along the Jordan across from Jericho. Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them outside the camp. Moses was wrathful with the officers of the army, chiefs of the thousands and chiefs of the hundreds, coming back from the militia host of the war. And Moses said to them, You have kept every female alive. Behold, they, by the word of Balaam, came to be for the sons of Israel, the reason for a defecting offense against Yahweh in the matter of Pur, so that the stroke came to be in the congregation of Yahweh. And now kill every male among the little ones, and every woman having known a man, at bed with a male, kill. Yet every little one among the women folk who have not known bed with a male, keep alive for yourselves. As for you, encamp outside the camp 7 days. All of you, having killed a soul, and all having touched any slain person, shall purify yourselves from sin on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day, both you and your captives. And every garment, and every article of leather, and every handiwork of goat's hair, and every article of wood shall you purify for yourselves from sin. Eleazar the priest said to the men of the militia host who had come into the battle, This is the statute of the law which Yahweh has instructed Moses. Yea, the gold and the silver, the copper, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything which may come through fire you shall cause to pass through fire, and it will be clean. Nevertheless, by the water of impurity shall it purify itself from sin. And everything which may not come through fire you shall cause to pass through water. You will rinse your garments on the 7th day, and you will be clean. And thereafter you may come into the camp. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Obtain the sum of the booty of the captives among human and among beast, you and Eleazar the priest and the patriarchal heads of the congregation. And you will divide the booty between those handling the war, those going forth with the militia host, and the whole congregation. You will raise up an assessment for Yahweh from the men of war, those going forth with the militia host, 1 soul out of 500 from the human and from the beast, from the herd, from the donkeys, and from the flock. From their half share shall you take it, and you will give it to Eleazar the priest as a heave offering to Yahweh. And from the half share of the sons of Israel you shall take 1 to be withheld out of 50, from the human, from the herd, from the donkeys, and from the flock, from every beast, and you will give them to the Levites, the ones keeping charge of Yahweh's tabernacle. So Moses and Eleazar the priest did just as Yahweh had instructed Moses. The booty, the rest of the plunder which the people of the militia host had plundered, came to be a flock of 675,000, a herd of 72,000, and 61,000 donkeys. As for the human souls of womenfolk who had not known bed with a male, all the souls were 32,000. The half share, the portion of those going forth with the militia host, came to number a flock of 337,500. And the assessment for Yahweh came to be, from the flock, 675. The herd was 36,000, and their assessment for Yahweh was 72. The donkeys were 30,500, and their assessment for Yahweh was 61. The human souls were 16,000, and their assessment for Yahweh was 32 souls. Moses gave the assessment as a heave offering of Yahweh to Eleazar the priest, just as Yahweh had instructed Moses. As for the half share of the sons of Israel, which Moses had divided from that of the enlisted militiamen, the half share of the congregation came to be, from the flock 337,500, and the herd was 36,000, the donkeys 30,500, and the human souls 16,000. Moses took from the half share of the sons of Israel 1 to be withheld out of 50 from the human and from the beast, and he gave them to the Levites, the ones keeping charge of Yahweh's tabernacle, just as Yahweh had instructed Moses. Then the officers, who were for thousands of the militia host, the chiefs of thousands and the chiefs of hundreds, came near to Moses, and they said to Moses, Your servants, they have obtained the sum of the men of war who are under our hand, and not a man is missing from us. So we have brought near as an approach present to Yahweh, whatever articles of gold each man found, armlets and bracelets, rings, earrings, and plaited ornaments, to make a propitiatory shelter over our souls before Yahweh. Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold from them, all articles of handiwork. All the gold of the heave offering which they raised up to Yahweh was 16,750 shekels from the chiefs of thousands and from the chiefs of hundreds. The men of the militia host had plundered, each for himself. And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold from the chiefs of thousands and hundreds and brought it to the tent of appointment, a reminder for the sons of Israel before Yahweh. Chapter 32. The abundance of cattle which the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad had come to be very substantial. Now they saw the land of Jazer and the land of Gilead, and behold, the place was a place for cattle. So the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben came and spoke to Moses, to Eleazar the priest, and to the princes of the congregation, saying, Adaroth, Dibon, Jazer, Nimrah, Heshbon, Elealeh, Shebam, Nebo, and Beon. The land which Yahweh smote before the congregation of Israel, it is cattle land, and your servants have cattle. They also said, if we have found grace in your eyes, let this land be given to your servants for a holding. Do not make us cross over the Jordan. Then Moses said to the sons of Gad and to the sons of Reuben, your brothers, shall they come to the war while you dwell here? Why do you discourage the heart of the sons of Israel from crossing over to the land which Yahweh has given to them? Thus your fathers did when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. They went up to Wadi Ashol and saw the land, yet they discouraged the heart of the sons of Israel so as not to enter the land which Yahweh has given to them. The anger of Yahweh grew hot on that day, and he swore, saying, assuredly no one of the men coming up from Egypt, from 20 years old and upward, shall see the ground about which I had sworn to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. For they have not fully followed after me, save Caleb, son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, and Joshua, son of Nun, for they fully followed after Yahweh. The anger of Yahweh grew hot against Israel, and he caused them to rove about in the wilderness 40 years until the whole generation, doing evil in the eyes of Yahweh, came to end. And behold, you have risen in your father's stead as a vast brood of sinful men, to be swept up again on account of the heat of Yahweh's anger toward Israel. In case you turn back from following him, then he will continue further to leave them in the wilderness, and you will ruin this whole people. Now they came close to him and said, stone dike, sheepfolds for flocks, should we build here for our cattle and cities for our little ones? Then we ourselves should be outfitted for the war, hurrying before the sons of Israel, until whenever we should bring them to their place. Our little ones would dwell in fortress cities because of the presence of the dwellers of the land. We shall not return to our houses until the sons of Israel entail each one his allotment, for we shall not have an allotment with them across the Jordan and beyond, since our allotment has come to us across the Jordan toward the sunrise. Moses said to them, if you should do this thing, if you should be outfitted before Yahweh for the war, so that every outfitted man you have will cross over the Jordan before Yahweh until he has evicted his enemies from his presence, and the land is subdued before Yahweh. And if you return afterward, then you will be exempt from your obligation to Yahweh and Israel, and this land will become yours for a holding before Yahweh. Yet if you shall not do so, behold, you will have sinned against Yahweh. Realize that your sin, it shall find you. Build cities for yourselves, for your little ones, and stone dike sheepfolds for your flocks. But what is coming forth from your mouth shall you do? Then one spoke for the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben to Moses, saying, your servants, they shall do just as my Lord is giving instruction. Our little ones, our wives, our cattle, and all our beasts, they shall stay there in the cities of Gilead. As for your servants, every man outfitted for the militia host, they shall cross over before Yahweh for the war, just as my Lord is speaking. As for them, Moses instructed Eleazar the priest, Joshua, son of Nun, and the patriarchal heads of the stocks of the sons of Israel. And Moses said to them, if the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben should cross over the Jordan with you, every man outfitted for the war before Yahweh, so that the land will be subdued before you, then you will give to them the land of Gilead for a holding. Yet if those outfitted should not cross over with you, then they will be given a holding in your midst in the land of Canaan. The sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben answered, saying, what Yahweh has spoken to your servants, so shall we do. We, the outfitted, shall cross over before Yahweh to the land of Canaan. Yet for us the holding of our allotment is across the Jordan. So Moses gave to them, to the sons of Gad, and to the sons of Reuben, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorite, and the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, the land belonging to its cities within its territories, and the cities of the land around. The sons of Gad rebuilt Dibon, Adaroth and Aroer, Atroth Shopon, Jazer, Jogbehah, Beth Nimrah, and Beth Haran, as fortress cities or stone dike sheepfolds for flocks. As for the sons of Reuben, they rebuilt Heshbon, Elealeh, and Kiriathaim, as well as Nebo and Baal-meon, changed about in name, and Sibmah. Yet they called the names of the cities which they rebuilt by other names. The sons of Machir, son of Manasseh, went to Gilead. They seized it and evicted the Amorite who was in it. So Moses gave Gilead to Machir son of Manasseh, and he dwelt in it. As for Jair son of Manasseh, he went and seized their settlements and called them Havoth Jair. As for Nobah, he went and seized Kenath and its outskirts, and he called it Nobah by his own name. Chapter 33. These are the journeys of the sons of Israel when they went forth from the land of Egypt by their militia hosts under the hand of Moses and Aaron. Moses wrote down their exit places of their journeys at the bidding of Yahweh, and these are their decampments at their exit places. They journeyed from Ramesses in the first month, on the 15th day of the first month. On the morrow after the Passover, the sons of Israel went forth with a high hand before the eyes of all the Egyptians, while the Egyptians were entombing those whom Yahweh had smitten among them, every firstborn, when Yahweh had executed judgments on their Elohim. The sons of Israel journeyed from Ramesses and encamped at Succoth. They journeyed from Succoth and encamped in Etham, which was at the end of the wilderness. They journeyed from Etham and turned back to Pi-hahiroth, which was adjoining Baal-zephon, and they encamped before Migdol. They journeyed from Pi-hahiroth and crossed in the midst of the sea to the wilderness, went a way of 3 days into the wilderness of Etham, and encamped at Marah. They journeyed from Marah and came to Elim. There were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees at Elim, and they encamped there. They journeyed from Elim and encamped by the Sea of Weeds. They journeyed from the Sea of Weeds and encamped in the wilderness of Sin. They journeyed from the wilderness of Sin and encamped at Dophkah. They journeyed from Dophkah and encamped at Alush. They journeyed from Alush and encamped at Rephidim. There was no water there for the people to drink. Then they journeyed from Rephidim and encamped in the wilderness of Sinai. They journeyed from the wilderness of Sinai and encamped at Kibroth-Hattaavah. Then they journeyed from Kibroth-Hattaavah and encamped at Hazeroth. They journeyed from Hazeroth and encamped at Rithmah. They journeyed from Rithmah and encamped at Rimmon-Perez. They journeyed from Rimmon-Perez and encamped at Libnah. They journeyed from Libnah and encamped at Rissah. They journeyed from Rissah and encamped at Kehelathah. They journeyed from Kehelathah and encamped at Mount Shepher. They journeyed from Mount Shepher and encamped at Harada. They journeyed from Harada and encamped at Makaloth. They journeyed from Makaloth and encamped at Tahath. They journeyed from Tahath and encamped at Terah. They journeyed from Terah and encamped at Mithkah. Then they journeyed from Mithkah and encamped at Hashmonah. They journeyed from Hashmonah and encamped at Moseroth. They journeyed from Moseroth and encamped at Bene-Jaakan. They journeyed from Bene-Jaakan and encamped at Hor-Haggidgad. They journeyed from Hor-Haggidgad and encamped at Jotbatha. They journeyed from Jotbatha and encamped at Abrona. They journeyed from Abrona and encamped at Etzion-Geber. They journeyed from Etzion-Geber and encamped in the wilderness of Zin. They journeyed from the wilderness of Zin and encamped in the wilderness of Paran. It is toward Kadesh. They journeyed from Kadesh and encamped at Mount Hor in the outmost part of the land of Edom. Then Aaron the priest went up onto Mount Hor at the bidding of Yahweh, and he died there in the 40th year after the going forth of the sons of Israel from the land of Egypt, in the 5th month on day 1 of the month. Aaron was 123 years old at his death on Mount Hor. Then the Canaanite king of Arad, he who was dwelling in the Negeb in the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of the sons of Israel. They journeyed from Mount Hor and encamped at Zalmonah. They journeyed from Zalmonah and encamped at Punon. They journeyed from Punon and encamped at Oboth. They journeyed from Oboth and encamped at Iye-Abarim at the boundary of Moab. They journeyed from Iyim and encamped at Dibon-Gad. They journeyed from Dibon-Gad and encamped at Almon-Diblathaim. They journeyed from Almon-Diblathaim and encamped in the mountains of the Abarim before Nebo. They journeyed from the mountains of the Abarim and encamped in the plains of Moab along the Jordan, across from Jericho. They encamped along the Jordan from Beth-Jesimoth as far as Abel-Shittim in the plains of Moab. Yahweh spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab along the Jordan, across from Jericho, saying, "Speak to the sons of Israel, and you will say to them, when you are crossing the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you will evict all the dwellers of the land from before you and destroy all their pictures, and all their molten images shall you destroy, and all their high places shall you exterminate. You will prepare the land for tenancy and dwell in it, for to you I give the land to tenant it, and you will entail the land by lot, by your families. For the numerous one you shall increase his allotment, and for the little one you shall decrease his allotment. Wherever the lot comes forth for him, it shall be his. By the stocks of your fathers shall you entail among yourselves. Yet if you should not evict the dwellers of the land from your presence, then those whom you are leaving of them will become like barbs in your eyes and pricks in your sides, and they will distress you in the land in which you are dwelling. And it will come to be, just as I meant to do to them, I shall do to you. Concordant chapter 34. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Instruct the sons of Israel, and you will say to them, When you are coming into the land of Canaan, this is the land which shall fall to you in allotment, the land of Canaan to its boundaries. Your southern edge will be from the wilderness of Zin along the sides of Edom, and your southern boundary will be from the end of the Salt Sea eastward. Your boundary will turn around from the Negeb to the ascent of Akrabim, and it will pass toward Zin, and its border area will be from the Negeb to Kadesh Barnea, and it will go forth to Hazar Adar and pass toward Asmon. The boundary will turn around from Asmon toward the Wadi of Egypt, and its border area will be toward the sea. As for the western boundary, you will come to have the great sea in its coastline. This shall be your western boundary, and this shall be your northern boundary. From the great sea you shall mark out your line to Mount Hor. From Mount Hor you shall mark it out to Lebo Hamath, and the border area of the territory will be at Zedad. Then the boundary will go forth toward Ziphron, and its border area will be at Hazar Enan. This shall be your northern boundary. You will mark out for yourselves as an eastward boundary a line from Hazar Enan toward Shechem. The boundary will go down from Shechem toward Riblah on the east side of Ain. The boundary will also go down and Abed on the shoulder of the lake of Chinnereth eastward. Then the boundary will go down along the Jordan, and its border area will be at the Salt Sea. This shall be your land as to its boundaries round about. Moses instructed the sons of Israel, saying, This is the land which you shall entail by lot, and which Yahweh has instructed to give to 9 of the stocks and the half stock of Manasseh. For they have taken the stock of the sons of the Reubenite by their father's house, and the stock of the sons of the Gadite by their father's house, and the half stock of Manasseh, they have taken their allotment. The 2 stocks and the half stock, they have taken their allotment across the Jordan of Jericho, eastward toward sunrise. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, These are the names of the men who shall allot the land to you. Eleazar the priest and Joshua son of Nun, and one prince from each stock, shall you take to allot the land. And these are the names of the men: for the stock of Judah, Caleb son of Jephunneh; for the stock of the sons of Simeon, Samuel son of Ammihud; for the stock of Benjamin, Eladad son of Chislon; for the stock of the sons of Dan, Prince Buki son of Yogli; for the sons of Joseph, for the stock of the sons of Manasseh, Prince Haniel son of Ephod; for the stock of the sons of Ephraim, Prince Kemuel son of Shipton; for the stock of the sons of Zebulun, Prince Elisaphan son of Parnach; for the stock of the sons of Issachar, Prince Paltiel son of Azan; for the stock of the sons of Asher, Prince Ahihud son of Shalomi; and for the stock of the sons of Naphtali, Prince Pedahel son of Ammihud. These are those whom Yahweh had instructed to make the allotment to the sons of Israel in the land of Canaan. Chapter 35. Yahweh spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab along the Jordan across from Jericho, saying, Instruct the sons of Israel so that they give to the Levites, from the allotment of their holding, cities to dwell in, and by the cities common pasture land around them shall you give to the Levites. The cities will be theirs to dwell in, and their common lands shall be for their domestic beasts, for their goods, and for all their animals. The common lands of the cities which you shall give to the Levites will extend from the side wall of the city outward 1,000 cubits round about. You will measure off outside the city on the eastward edge 2,000 cubits, on the southern edge 2,000 cubits, on the western edge 2,000 cubits, and on the northern edge 2,000 cubits, with the city in the midst. This shall be their common lands for the cities. And of the cities which you shall give to the Levites, 6 will be asylum cities which you shall give for the manslayer to flee there. And along with them you shall give 42 other cities. All the cities which you shall give to the Levites will be 48 cities, these and their common pasture lands. And the cities which you shall give will be from the holding of the sons of Israel. From the numerous one you shall increase, and from the little one you shall decrease. Each tribe, according to the bidding of its allotment, which they are allotting, shall give from its cities to the Levites. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and you will say to them, When you are crossing over the Jordan to the land of Canaan, then you will constitute your cities, which shall be cities of asylum for you. There the manslayer will flee, whoever is smiting a soul to death inadvertently. They will become for you the cities of asylum from the kinsman redeemer, so that the manslayer should not die until he stands before the congregation for judgment. Of the cities which you shall give, 6 shall become your asylum cities. 3 of the cities shall you give across the Jordan, and 3 of the cities shall you give in the land of Canaan. Cities of asylum shall they be. For the sons of Israel, for the sojourner, and for the guest in their midst, these 6 cities shall be for an asylum to flee there, for everyone smiting a soul to death inadvertently. Yet if he smites him with an iron instrument, and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be put to death, yea, death. And if he smites him with a stone in his hand, by which one may die, and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be put to death, yea, death. Or if he smites him with a wooden instrument in his hand by which one may die, and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be put to death, yea, death. The kinsman redeemer of blood, he shall put the murderer to death. When he comes upon him, he shall put him to death. And if he thrusts him down in hatred, or flings anything at him with malicious intent, and he dies, or he smites him in enmity with his hand, and he dies, the smiter shall be put to death, yea, death. He is a murderer. The kinsman redeemer of blood shall put the murderer to death when he comes upon him. Yet if in an instant, with no enmity, he thrusts him down or flings any article at him with no malicious intent, or when not seeing him, he causes any stone by which one may die to fall on him, and he dies, yet he was not his enemy and was not seeking his evil. Then the congregation will judge between the smiter and the kinsman redeemer of blood by these judgments. And the congregation will rescue the manslayer from the hand of the kinsman redeemer of blood, and the congregation will restore him to his city of asylum where he had fled. He will dwell in it until the death of the great priest, whom one anointed with the holy oil. Yet if the manslayer goes forth, yea, forth beyond the boundary of his city of asylum where he had fled, and the kinsman redeemer of blood finds him outside the boundary of his city of asylum, and the kinsman redeemer of blood murders the manslayer, there is no blood guilt on him, for he should dwell in his city of asylum until the death of the great priest. Yet after the death of the great priest, the manslayer may return to the land of his holding. These will be for you a statute of judgment throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Everyone smiting a soul to death, at the mouth of witnesses one shall murder the murderer. Yet a single witness shall not assert guilt against a soul to cause him to die. Nor shall you take a sheltering ransom for the soul of the murderer, who stands condemned to die, for he shall be put to death, yea, death. And no sheltering ransom shall you take for one who had fled to his city of asylum, only to return to dwell in the land before the death of the great priest. You shall not pollute the land in which you are dwelling, for it is the blood that pollutes the land. As for the land, no propitiatory shelter may be made for the blood which was shed on it, save by the blood of him who shed it. You shall not defile the land in which you are dwelling, in whose midst I am tabernacling, for I, Yahweh, am tabernacling in the midst of the sons of Israel. Chapter 36. The patriarchal heads of the family of the sons of Gilead, son of Mashir, son of Manasseh, from the families of the sons of Joseph came near, and spoke before Moses and before the princes, the patriarchal heads of the sons of Israel. They said, Yahweh has instructed my Lord to give the land in allotments by lot to the sons of Israel. And my Lord was instructed by Yahweh to give the allotment of Zelophehad, our brother, to his daughters. When they become wives for some of the sons of the other tribes of the sons of Israel, then their allotment will be subtracted from the allotment of our fathers, and it will be added on to the allotment of the stock to which they should belong. And from the lot of our allotment it shall be subtracted. When the Jubilee comes for the sons of Israel, then their allotment would be added on to the allotment of the stock to which they should belong, and from the allotment of our father's stock their allotment might be subtracted. So Moses instructed the sons of Israel at the bidding of Yahweh, saying, Properly the stock of the sons of Joseph is speaking. This is the word which Yahweh has instructed as to the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, to anyone good in their eyes they may become wives. Only into the family of their father's stock shall they become wives. The allotment of the sons of Israel shall not go around from stock to stock, for the sons of Israel, each one, shall cling to the allotment of his father's stock. And every daughter tenanting an allotment from the stocks of the sons of Israel, to someone from the family of her father's stock should she become the wife, so that the sons of Israel may tenant, each one, the allotment of his father's. The allotment shall not go around from one stock to another stock, for the stocks of the sons of Israel, each one shall cling to his allotment. Just as Yahweh had instructed Moses, so did the daughters of Zelophehad. Mahlah, Tirzah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Noah, daughters of Zelophehad, became wives of their uncle's sons. To those from the families of the sons of Manasseh, son of Joseph, they became wives, and their allotment came to be with the stock of their father's family. These are the instructions and judgments which Yahweh had instructed by means of Moses to the sons of Israel in the plains of Moab, along the Jordan across from Jericho.